claimed.
In the arms. I'll just sing it. All right, everybody. We are live. We do come to you with some. God damn you, Lewis.
God damn it.
With some unfortunate news. Barbara Walters passed away. In the arms of an angel.
I can't.
Can you get that fucking screen away from the camera, please? You're gonna haunt my nightmares.
Oh shit!
Hi, everybody. We are indeed live, coming to you from all over the fucking place. Really, we've got a big one today.
And we swore within the first 8 seconds. So
I am Bob, but we are not monetized anyways. We can do whatever the fuck we want to do. It's the wild fucking west. Piss, shit, cunt, bitch. You can say whatever you want right now. We're not making money off of this.
In honor of Jen, pew pew pew.
Pew 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 pew. We gotta figure out a sad version of that. Pew pew.
I think the name of this episode should be the 5 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, because we chose 90s schlock, including 2 movies that we've talked about since
the beginning of
this podcast.
Yeah, 5 terrible. Now here's the thing. I think we all kind of agree that these movies aren't good. But we all like them. Like these are movies we personally enjoy. 2 of which we will be doing Congo and
not
McCall's
all
Navy.
of them. We don't enjoy all of them.
No, not see that's the thing is so like the people who chose the movie clearly enjoy the movie. I chose McCall's Navy because I'm white trash and I enjoy that movie. Lewis chose Congo because he's got an ape fetish. We each like the movies for a reason. We do enjoy them. So the movies we are doing in order of appearance. Super Mario directors or whatever shit. We're gonna call Super Mario Frankenstein cut is the first one.
Cut or whatever.
I think there's a name for it.
The
John Cena cut.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see one of the directors' names.
Mark Morton or something like that. That's a
whatever her name is.
The John Hopkins cut.
Yeah, the John Hopkins Super Mario Frankenstein edition is the one
that's not a good name.
And the second movie is the smash Christian Slater Tony Hawk hit, Gleaming the Cube. Which, by the way, every time there was a skate scene, and there's a lot, I was just going gleaming, and then he would come back into the scene. I go, man, I really gleamed a lot there. The whole fucking movie. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Jen hated it. Gleaming the Cube is the second one. The third one we are doing is what is the third one?
Never been kissed.
Never. I repressed it from my mind is what happened, dude. Like basically like a battered wife. I've forgotten I watched that movie last. Never Been Kissed, and then we have Congo, McCall's Navy, whatever order we do those 2 in. But yeah, so let's get right into it. I think everybody needs to explain why they chose this movie and what it means to them, because I got to be honest with you, this is one of the hardest fucking weeks of reviewing movies we've ever done that I've ever had to do. Not only did we have gauntlet. We've had 5 fucking movies to do, but I hated 4 of them. So it was a tough week. Hi, Slavi. Wait, what did she say? Never Been Kissed is my favorite. Oh boy. Ooh, we'll let you know when we get there because we're gonna fuck it up. So,
Slavi wants a 16-year-old of his own, her own, their own.
Wait until we get there. There's lots to talk about in Never Been Kissed between Drew Barrymore being a human potato and the teacher being a pedo. Or wait, what? Not a pedo. Potato. What is it?
A hebephile.
A herbivore.
Herbivore.
So, although it's funny because if you try and explain that there's another word to describe post-pubescent children, you really just sound like a pedophile.
Well, here's the thing. If he was like a 25-year-old dude and was just like, man, I'd fuck that 16-year-old, that's not nearly as bad as him developing a deep emotional relationship with a 16-year-old high school student who acts like at any moment in the show she's pissed her pants. Like that's the thing is it's just the fact that he's attracted to that version of a 16-year-old, you know what I mean? It's weird. It's fucking weird. He's weird. End of story. He's a fucking pedo. Or herbivore, sorry.
Herbivore?
Herbivore, yeah. I'm fixing Giovanni's camera because I don't know if you moved it or what happened, but I basically lost all of your lower body and it was just your floating fucking dude from Aladdin.
I think
head.
because
Like, they didn't know what to do with that.
I pulled into the desk like this. That's
Okay.
why.
Yeah,
I
I
think
looked
my
over.
camera's also a little off too because I'm like,
I looked over at the stream and I was like, Giovanni's just disappearing like it's Back to the Future. You want me to do something about your camera?
I'm just like.
Everybody's a critic. This is a new layout. Don't blame me.
There
Blame
we
the
go,
guy who puts
center.
this whole fucking thing together. I
awesome
didn't
sauce.
center anything, bro. You moved.
Oh,
I
did
hadn't touched it. Stop moving. God damn it. You play too much. Okay, there we go. All right, so first movie on the docket, Super Mario Director's Cut. Giovanni, you chose this movie, did you not?
I did. I grew up on Super Mario Brothers. It's a classic game. And this was, for me, the first video game movie that I ever saw. And as you know, video game movies aren't good, but I fell in love with it. I like the two main actors, John Leguizamo, until he opened his mouth. I like him.
I don't understand why Super Mario doesn't have more Latinx people. You know, I thought it was about Hispanic plumbers.
The moment
and then I just forgot the other actor's name. What's his name?
Bob
Hoskins.
Bob.
John
Who
on.
also passed away this year.
Come on down to
Bob
Bob
Hoskins
Hoskins
passed
Ford.
away this year.
We're gonna get you hooked up with a nice Ford Raptor for this snow. That's his name. Sounds like a used car dealership, dude. Like Bob Hoskins Motors.
Bob Hoskins Lymphoma, I think was his full name.
I love the adventures that they have in this movie, the costumes, the little nods to Super Mario Brothers. But I will say, they fucked it up entirely. Like the lore is all over the goddamn place.
This other movie we watched didn't fuck it up?
This is the only version. The other movie isn't out yet.
Can we start? By the way, I would take Chris Pratt just being like, "Hey, dudes, I'm Mario." The whole fucking movie over this garbage.
I disagree. I can't stand Chris Pratt as
you
Mario. Every time I watch that trailer, every time I watch that fucking trailer, it ruins the movie for me.
Here's the thing: you cannot like him as the voice, but him sitting on a pickle bucket and recording his lines would be better quality than this movie. You have terrible performances by everyone except Bob Hoskins because he's just a class fucking act.
Why is it a pickle bucket? Couldn't it just be like crates or something?
Because it's so low budget, they couldn't give him a proper seat.
Just milk
and the
crates?
guy who runs the studio likes pickle. Why did you dig into that one?
Just curious about why a pickle bucket.
Just wanted to disrupt the show. Fuck you, man. Anyways.
I also like the song "Walk the Dinosaur." I'm gonna Alex this, and "Walk the Dinosaur" is a good song for me.
Yeah,
so.
it's one of my top favorites next to Yo Ninja Rap.
Oh my god! I just discovered. So Shay thinks it's a running bit that I want to cast Danny DeVito and everything, but it's because I'm actually like no joke, a really huge Danny DeVito fan.
Have you watched the Sunny podcast episode with him on it yet?
I have, but I was just reading up on the casting for this movie, and the Golden God Danny DeVito himself was offered both the role of Mario and the director's chair for this movie.
I don't know about
turned it down.
Director's chair, but he would have been a great.
I would have loved. He would have been amazing Mario.
A better Wario.
Also,
he would have been a really good Wario.
Okay, so it gets even better because Arnold Schwarzenegger and Michael Keaton were approached to play Koopa. Tom Hanks was considered for Luigi.
Oh boy, that was his big era. Yeah, I guess.
That would have been a weird foul.
Dude, but the crazy thing about this is Tom Hanks was in this. This is only what, 3 or 4 years before Castaway, which I think he won the Oscar for.
Yeah.
Like, he literally, if he would have taken this, he would have been typecast as the goofy, gangly white dude.
And I make a joke about Danny DeVito being in every role, but this is a role he actually could have played.
Yeah, especially at that
as
time.
Mario.
Although I mean, him even compared to John Leguizamo would have been tiny. Like, Bob Hoskins and Leguizamo are at least somewhat of the same height. I mean, any shorter, Daisy would have been looking down on Mario. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. This weird casting. I think Dennis Hopper was an awful choice. He's an awful actor.
Yeah, he was bad in this.
He's bad. I mean, what is he good in? Easy Rider when he was fucking 22? Like, what has he been good at in this millennia?
Something I noticed about every single movie we watched, including the Never Been Kissed one, a lot of these actors play themselves in every movie.
You know what? He was good in Speed.
That's one that he didn't play himself, unless
True Romance as well. For the limited time he's in that movie.
But that's something I notice about all these actors that they use for this is
But
they
I
all kind
do
of play themselves.
I do agree. Yeah.
Who is the lady that's his wife that tries to fuck him over in the end? I recognize her face, but I don't know from what.
Wasn't she in Harry Potter?
Yes.
That's who's.
Okay.
Wait,
She played the she was Harry's mom's sister.
Okay.
She went off and got herself blown up.
I'm almost positive she was in a fucking Seinfeld episode. She's been all over. I recognize her. That's the thing is, like, they definitely tried to throw as much star power as they could afford at it. Like
a lot of British star power because it is a
well, you gotta remember
made.
Bob Hoskins was the big guy at this point because he was coming off of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That's why he was cast in this role because he'd already done a movie with anime inspired, all that bullshit is my assumption. But the problem is like Leguizamo was known for stand up, really just starting to be known for stand up at this point. I think The Pest came out a few years after.
He only had one comedy show before this, and he only did one movie before this that wasn't really that good.
So he was unknown. Daisy still unknown. Dennis Hopper and Bob Hoskins were the only star power they had.
Which is it's funny though, because if you watch the movie, the primary focus is Luigi in this movie. Which is strange because they gave John Leguizamo, who's just coming up, not very well known, they basically gave him the spotlight in this movie, which is really weird.
Then they also double the story down, right? Like they have the Daisy story, and then they're like, oh, by the way, we're going to kidnap Mario's girlfriend as well.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Which is much more like his like wife than his girlfriend as well. Like they live together, like she's, they're cooking dinner. Like they should have had Mario be married under the idea of he raised Luigi, like, kept a like that sort of household, because then it would have made more sense for him to kind of be nonchalant about his wife. It's, the old ball and chain type thing as opposed to Luigi chasing a fresh girl he's in love with. But instead it's just like, oh, that's just his girlfriend too. Okay.
It's also weird that they chose Daisy and not Peach, because Peach was the front runner for Super Mario Brothers, the game.
I think you have to choose Daisy because of the fungus, from as you were saying, story from the second movie.
The fungus was the father.
Yeah, the only thing the fungus was ever in was in number 2, which by the way isn't a Super Mario game. It was another game that was made, then slapped on Super Mario on it. That's why it's terrible. Comparably, I would say terrible.
Everything I read up on this movie, I have no idea how this thing even got greenlit.
Cocaine, my boy. Lots of
Must
cocaine.
Have been. I mean, it's weird too because this was Nintendo's first movie.
Yeah, and I mean
now was it backed by Nintendo? Because the new Super Mario Brothers is not backed by Nintendo. They're sourcing out the license.
No, this was legitimately Nintendo produced.
Did you watch the post credits? There was post credit scene where they actually are pitching the idea to these Chinese investors. And he tells them, like, these two brothers, and he goes, "You mean Super Mario Brothers?" And they're telling him that we're going to make the Super Mario game.
This was Nintendo backed, and it was a big mistake. I also had read that the movie's budget had ballooned, and it was way over budget by the time it had come out, and it was one of those things where no matter what, it would have been a financial failure, and then it flopped. So you have that concept of like. That's why Nintendo, that's why I guarantee they're not backing the new one. But I think where Nintendo fucked up was they gave away rights at some point. They sold rights to the characters somewhere. If they're making a movie out of it, they have to, unless it's just a licensing deal. But you'd still have to have Nintendo's backing for that, though, wouldn't you? They don't license the shit they don't want, you know what I mean? They don't even let Smash Brother tournaments happen.
Not anymore, yeah. That was a whole debacle.
Yeah,
but I know the new movie is not even a Nintendo movie. It's just the studio is using the characters.
It might be for the better though. In that case, like
no,
despite
Super Mario Bros was a Disney. It was bought out by Disney.
Despite them using Chris Pratt, which I know you hate, I
just don't like his voice.
Yeah, but I'm gonna argue that like it'll be a better product than what is.
Absolutely.
Out.
Absolutely.
If anything, you have Jack Black playing Bowser, which is a score. You've got Charlie Day doing Luigi.
My issue with the movie is, and I don't mind Chris Pratt. He's another like The Rock, where it's like you can disappear for a while and I wouldn't notice. But it's like Super Mario has like my issue is so the voice actor for Super Mario, he's not a big actor, but his voice is so iconic. Like that's Super Mario. To have him in the movie, but he's not playing
Yeah,
Mario,
it
to me
does
it
bring.
just doesn't
Well,
click.
why wouldn't
makes
you?
no sense,
Why wouldn't you
yeah.
go with the video game voice actor in the first place? Is the first question. Like
This is
it's
fucking
less
video game
money,
camera anyway.
less money.
Yeah, that's another thing. Way
Like
less money.
like why wouldn't you just if Chris Pratt's gonna make 10 million, give this guy 3 and he'll do a bang. Like it makes zero sense as to why Chris Pratt was ever cast in the movie. I can understand side characters. Luigi, I'd still say you got the Luigi's Mansion's voice actor. They just
Mhm.
pumped out Luigi's Mansion 3 a couple years ago. Use him. You want to use celebrities for the side dudes? Jack Black's a great Bowser. You want to use celebrities for Peach and Toad, and Danny DeVito should have been Toad, by the way. You want to
Whatever cameo spots they have.
like that makes sense, but to not use the voice actors that are already, but maybe it's not the studio's fault, right? If Nintendo isn't supporting the product, I guarantee you those voice actors have contracts with Nintendo to only do that voice with Nintendo products.
I agree.
Oh, okay.
I agree.
So-
Especially the way Nintendo is with their licensing. I absolutely agree.
But then it becomes, who do you cast as Mario? Do you cast some random fucking Italian dude for a character that was invented by Japanese people and we assumed he was Italian because he had a mustache? Like,
did they even
wh-
hold auditions and have people do the voice, like try to do the
well,
voice? And
I
shit?
mean, here's the thing: is that also may not be what they want. Maybe they don't want the traditional Mario. Maybe what we've heard is poor examples. Like I don't like. Who's to say they were going for your typical, fucking Italian stereotypical voice either? What if they release a Mario game where Chris Pratt or whoever the fuck they do it is hamming up a stereotypical Italian voice? Then you got culturally appropriation coming down on you.
Or to Matt's point, maybe Nintendo wouldn't allow the typical Mario voice. Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Nintendo with
They're ball
licensing,
busters, bro.
they are like bad, really
So
bad.
Well, as we
they
talked
had-
about the Smash Brothers tournament, which was essentially one of there's two organizations that were doing them. The one organization's owner was a corrupt piece of shit, got into the ear with Nintendo. It became sketchy. Then Nintendo just said fuck it and put a kaput to everything now.
Hmm.
So basically, Nintendo never did give support to Smash Brother tournaments, started to kind of loosen on it, and now they're saying fuck everybody. Nintendo's a bunch of cunts when it comes to this, and it partly due to this fucking movie. It was such a failure that
See, but then-
that's why they're so tight-assed about it.
That doesn't make any sense to me for the new movie because Shigeru Miyamoto is a producer and Nintendo is producing it along with Universal. I honestly feel like Chris Pratt is the lead because it's Chris Pratt.
Yeah, it's a big star, but
they
but
think
once
he's a draw.
But I mean, here's the thing. If and I'm not trying to go political or anything, but if you cast any white actor and you have them, even if it sounds just like Mario sounds, you're gonna have outcry about why is a white actor doing that voice? Why is a white actor doing this? Because Mario's voice is a stereotypical, what we would have called back in the day, as an Italian accent. So there is a dilemma there in casting in general. Because you're gonna have, if it's not an Italian person doing the voice, you're gonna potentially have backlash, and then you have whatever Nintendo's bullshit is on top of it. So it's like, I understand that Universal is in it kind of like in a corner for that, but it begs the question of like, you couldn't have just got some random voice actor, like some voice actor who Troy Baker wasn't available. You know, just somebody who's in the fucking industry. You had to get Chris Pratt.
Oh, Troy Baker can go away too. He's such an
he's a
insufferable
miserable
cunt.
cunt. He really is, dude. His whole like I thought about video games differently after I had kids. It's like, good for you, guy.
With that said, though, I will say the new Super Mario Brothers trailer, watch it in French. The French guy, oh my God, he is a blessing. I want to watch that movie in French just to hear him.
That would be funny if you could like the Blu-ray comes out and you could turn off Chris Pratt but leave all the other side actors, so it's like a different, like the French actors doing it.
You get to pick and choose which ones you want.
Don't worry, the digital edition includes the no Chris Pratt option.
Well, when that movie comes out, I guarantee somebody is going to fix it. Somebody is going to fix it, and it's
Well,
going to be a better.
I do kind of wonder, and this is like my conspiracy theory, Matt, regarding fucking movies, but like you do have to wonder if they purposely put out like the shittiest lines he did just to get people to go, I'm gonna go fucking see that, and we're gonna talk shit about it. And then like the rest of the movie, he's like on point. Like it really would be funny if for whatever reason they wanted to fuck with people, and like maybe they're trying to capitalize on the Sonic, because Sonic's face was all fucked up with that first trailer.
And they
Maybe
fixed it.
maybe they're trying to do something like that. Maybe the whole idea is like maybe those you don't even that's the thing is you don't know if those are even in the movie. Those lines that are in the so like part of me does wonder if it's just some asshole at Universal. And by the way, fuck Universal. Some asshole at Universal is like, what if we try to do the same thing that happened with Sonic, but we're like, we have these cuts of Chris Pratt doing it that aren't very good, or we have a couple scenes in the movie where his accent's more him than anything. But the rest of them, like, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it would be an interesting thing to happen if the rest of the movie was solid, him doing a pretty on-point Mario, and they purposely released the bad ones.
Didn't Universal just lose a lawsuit about putting out a false trailer?
No,
they did.
They didn't lose a lawsuit. No,
they didn't lose that lawsuit.
No. So what happened was these two losers who wanted to jerk off to Ana de Armas, and God forbid, I really don't want to have to defend Universal. But they decided because she was in a movie that they ended up cutting her character from, but she was still in the trailer, that they sued Universal because she wasn't in the movie. And Universal had put a motion in to have it dismissed, and the judge said that the lawsuit can go through. Nobody's won or lost anything, but the lawsuit can be heard by a judge and whatever. That's what's going on. It's nothing's going to go through on that. It's for one thing, if it goes through, then no filmmaker has intellectual freedom, right? If these guys get off and they actually get money from Universal from allowing a director to say, I don't need this character in my film, and for that to happen, basically two things are going to have to happen. Trailers are going to get worse because only footage that you're actually going to see in the film is going to be there. So the trailers are going to ruin things more. You gotta remember, back in the 90s, you would watch a trailer and 2 seconds of the trailer was actually in the movie. There was moments, if you had a 30-second trailer in the 90s, you didn't know if you were getting any of those fucking scenes. So if this lawsuit does go through and these two fucking, I almost said something, these dudes win, it sets a terrible precedence for intellectual freedom as far as making movies, or at least releasing trailers.
Also, to be fair, trailers back then were a lot of them were a different movie. Like you went to go see the movie, and I was like, wait, this is not what the trailer was.
Especially like in the martial arts spectrum.
Yeah,
you would have wild differences. Like you would go to see an action movie that was coming out, and like none of the scenes in the trailer were in the movie. It was like, wait a second, I really wanted to see this fight scene play out, and it's just not in the fucking movie. It was 90s were shit. Exactly, and that's going to get worse, Slavi. It's going to get worse because only shit that you can watch in the movie will be in the trailer, and trailers now, like Netflix does 2-minute long trailers. Why the fuck do you need a 2-minute long trailer?
No.
Teasers, they need to be teasers.
Like, that's why when we play trailers, we don't show more than 20 seconds, because if you do, you give away the whole fucking plot in a lot of these things. John Wick 4,
you get copyright strike.
Nowadays, you get teasers for the teaser, or you get announcements for the teaser for the trailer. It makes no sense.
Or trailers in YouTube short form. Oh, good. So, by the way, Universal did lose something, and it was a copyright claim. Not one, but two of them on this channel. They can go fuck themselves. I beat them both. And then I beat this other guy's copyright strike. He's like, I used a sound effect in a video an episode we did. And he struck, and it's like, don't worry, it's not going to affect your channel, but this is this dude's content. And I was like, the hell it is, and I fucking fought it, and that one's gone. He's like, I guess it's better that my shitty sound bites in some content than none. Fucking, YouTube is everybody's just copyright striking away. Universal we will never have another trailer on this fucking show for Universal, and if we do, I'm going to do it the center of the screen, and it's going to be tiny. You won't even be able to fucking see it.
Super, super tiny.
And then when they copyright strike, I'll screenshot it and just point to it with arrows asking if they're fucking stupid. God, fuck Universal. Violent Night, a movie I want to watch, is out on VOD. One thing, I'm not paying $25 for it. Secondly, fuck Universal, because that's a Universal movie.
I saw it. It's really good. I like it.
I know. I'd love to review it too, but once again, Fuck Universal. And we got Tarantino month coming up, or Tarantino 3 month coming up soon. So after that, I was thinking about doing Marvel, but I don't know. We were talking about movie pairings, and we're probably going to be not doing Marvel right away. Because I don't know if I want to go from one
That's
locked
a
in
long,
to
yeah.
another. I don't want 6 months of locked into fucking whatever. Tarantino's good. Tarantino's movies we've always wanted to talk about. And I do think we should get into the Marvel because we've realistically reviewed maybe 2 or 3 comic book movies. I think we did the new Batman. We did the Justice League. But not a whole lot other than that as far as any sort of superhero movie.
That's okay, because we'll review the Phantom soon.
I think we should. Also, we should probably do a
Ben Affleck, the Phantom.
We should do like a review of Ghost movies, like the whole Snyder trilogy. Or Batman and Man of Steel, because now that's all dead. That's gone and obliterated. I don't give two shits about Wonder Woman, but
since Giovanni chose Super Mario, I did want to ask you guys a question. It could be any Nintendo. It has to be Nintendo IP, and it has to be a live action movie. If you could choose for them to make a live action movie of any Nintendo property, doesn't have to be old. It could be new, but Nintendo, not like something ported to Nintendo. Like I would love to see a live action Metroid movie.
Yep, that was mine. Metroid. It would have to be in the horror spectrum, though. It would have to be
like an alien sci-fi.
Yeah, it could
my
be
God,
whatever you want. Just
and they
live
have to have the
action
music
movie.
in there somewhere.
For me, it would be Metroid or following that road with Stranger Things. You can totally do an Earthbound. You can totally do an Earthbound movie, and it would be fucking amazing.
I mean, you would be dealing with mainly lore. Like the only problem with Earthbound is you're gonna have people go, oh, why are we using such good CGI in this? It's like well, we can't make everything 8-bit, if shit.
Yeah,
I do think it would be funny if you did like a Mario Kart movie, but you made it like a Fast and the Furious movie. Mario's like Vin Diesel.
Even if you look at newer IPs, like a Bayonetta movie would be crazy.
That'd be
would
insane.
Be
a Fire Emblem movie would be insane.
I wouldn't mind, and the problem with this is you'd have to do like you could do live action, but all the characters would have to be like Rocket Raccoon, but like a Star Fox movie would be neat.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Have like basically a buddy road trip movie in space, almost like Guardians of the Galaxy-ish.
Or if you want to pander to everybody, get that Animal Crossing shit going.
Dude, I loved, I don't care what anybody says, I love the Speed Racer movies. And to see the way those turned out, you can totally do an F-Zero movie.
Wait, are you talking the animated?
There was more than one Speed Racer?
No, the live action.
Oh, there was one. Action. Yeah, that was actually really good. But that was also the Wachowski people. So
that was with the Hirsch kid? What's his name?
Yeah.
Neil Hirsch.
Dude, but that movie was all about the dude from Lost, though. He was badass, and the fight scenes were cool. And that movie
Racer X.
Yeah, that movie's also really well done. Like that horribly underrated, Giovanni. That's a good movie.
I would totally love to see an F-Zero. I think they can do an F-Zero movie for sure.
The only problem with F-Zero is the same problem you're gonna have with like Mario Kart. Is what's the lore? Like they're gonna have to develop beyond the thin lore they have.
Oh, I don't care. I just want to see him Falco punch someone off of a cliff.
Well, see that's where the idea of a Smash Brother movie actually isn't bad, because then you can bring in all of the Nintendo lore into one product. Like, can you imagine if you did a Smash Brothers movie, but you designed it like a Mortal Kombat movie, where they all come to this arena and you've got everybody from Ash to Link to Zelda herself to Samus to Kirby to Falcon, like. It would have to be animated for the most part, unless. Well, I mean, technology's pretty good to where you could have live action characters mixed with animated.
You could make a Kirby horror movie about him stalking and eating people.
Oof.
Jen asked if you guys all watched the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
I have not yet.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was nice to see an animated Michael Rooker back.
Yeah.
I have not, because I'm so burnt out on superheroes. Like I want to check out all these Marvel movies I missed. I just don't have like the energy to.
I gotta be honest. I don't know when you stopped, but you haven't missed much, dude. Phase 4 is a bunch of shitty TV shows and a couple movies. Like Phase 4 is Thor 4, WandaVision, Doctor Strange. Well, we haven't gotten there yet. We just hit Infinity War, and then after that, but. There's not a whole lot of movie in Phase 4. I think you've got Shang-Chi, Doctor Strange 2, Thor 4, and the rest of the products for the most part are TV shows. Miss Marvel, WandaVision, Loki is in Phase 4. Yeah,
She-Hulk.
She-Hulk. Like, yeah, the majority of like, there's 3 movies in Phase 4, and you got to remember, Phase 3 was like 8 or 9 movies, or like there was a lot in Phase 3, starting with I think Iron Man 3, maybe.
Which
Yeah,
is
and
crazy. There are only 3 movies in Phase 4, and they're saying you're gonna start seeing the big
Well,
enemy, and I'm like, we're only fucking 3 movies in.
I
What are you
thought
doing?
Thanos was the enemy. Didn't he kill half the fucking planet?
Yeah, half the
Also,
Oh
world,
no,
half
the big enemy for the next phase.
also,
Krang.
they're talking
Yeah.
about there's a, I don't know if it's a TV show or a movie where they're bringing in the Animanium, which is going to then apparently introduce Wolverine at some point.
I don't know
I don't know, but I
why.
know in Secret Invasion is a fucking TV show. Fuck you. Like
Really?
you gotta
Is
be
it a
yeah,
TV
it's so
show?
it's so fucking stupid. I
I'm
was so
going to say
pissed when I
Henry
saw the
Cavill for
trailer.
fucking Wolverine or Cyclops. The only way you're going to get him in Marvel is to give him a character that he's going to give a shit about. He's a fucking nerd. He's got to be somebody prominent.
If I was in charge of Marvel, I would pull a reboot the entire universe and start with a Fantastic Four
That'd be a good one.
and
I
get
think you have
all
to
new
keep
actors.
I don't know, man. I think
Would
John
your first
Krasinski
villain be Dr.
fits
Doom?
fucking Mr. Fantastic. Like, I think he fits the character.
Oh
like-
no, they could bring him, but I think with the actors we knew growing up in like the Infinity Saga all aged out and leaving, I think it'd be cool if Marvel did like a cataclysmic thing that resets the universe. First new movie in this universe, Fantastic Four. That was Marvel's first family, and it's disgusting that we have not. For one,
Yeah.
Marvel, Disney not buying the rights to Fantastic Four years ago to make that movie when that's pocket change to them doesn't make any sense. But that should be, they should revamp the whole universe, start off with Fantastic Four, and
And you get
recast
the
all of
introduction
those.
to
Yep.
Silver Surfer, Galactus, some
Yeah,
of the
but-
greatest villains.
Yeah, but then you don't want to build the universe off of Doctor Doom either.
No, it would be like Galactus. You still go space wise. It would be Galactus or Silver Surfer.
And then you know
or the
what,
power of
to
Cosmic.
Yeah, but the
to
problem-
surprise the uber nerds, guess what? Tony Stark from this universe popped, like, but they need to start fresh. It's too like spread out.
I think if you reboot it, right, and you wanna keep the Stark storyline as one of the central storylines, you reboot it to where, you know, and that is if like if you want to do a connected reboot, as in all of this shit existed, but something happened in this universe to reset. You reset it at the moment Howard Stark was murdered. Like, whether that comes in during Fantastic Four or however that worked, I don't remember what year. That was the other thing, though. What year is Fantastic Four set in? Because that does change,
Really...
or do they never identify it?
I would, a good storyline for them to, and I'm sorry we're on this weird subject, but whatever. A good storyline for them to do is they did a sequel to Secret Wars that went 11 issues, and it was the universe was ending, and the Illuminati members, so like all the smartest superheroes,
The ones we saw decapitated in Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, they built an arc and were jumping through dimensions to scoop up certain superheroes that they wanted to essentially bring into the last universe.
I do have a question, and this wouldn't be a popular question. Is it time to stop basing our movies off of comic book lore? Is it time to take these characters and allow writers to write independent stories from comic book lore? Because there's only so much of that. And you can go into the alternative storylines, you can go into the different one-off series, whatever they are, but at some point, and I think that's part of the problem you're seeing in the universe now, is a lot of the comic book lore has been infused into the Marvel Cinematic Universe to the point to where they're starting to have to write their own shit to make things to connect and try to make sense from the universe they have. Like, at what point do we say, yes, this character is from a comic, but our storylines that we're creating are now independent of comic book lore necessarily? Not the traits, Superman, Kryptonite, all that shit stays the same, but the storylines are not based off of any comic book storyline. should that take place?
I don't know. It's twofold
Yeah.
because the storylines they have used as a fucking nerd who reads comics all the time, they've like butchered them all. Like
They're not
it's
using
There's
specific
so much
stories. They're
left
ripping
out.
from every different story
Yeah, there's so much
and
left
trying to
out.
make it.
But the problem is Marvel in those first 10 years tried to use like all the good storylines, like Demon in a Bottle for Tony Stark, where he's now called like
But not
they've taken all the best bits and done it so stupid that a lot of the comic fans are like, why did they even use that storyline if they were gonna do
well, they're
this?
now at the point where the time travel is how they're trying to correct. I mean, look at Deadpool 3 is going to have Wolverine, and the Logan storyline is canon, so it's basically there's going to be time travel, and it's going to take place before Logan.
That's
Well, the
why I
next big
think
villain is Kang, who's a time traveler.
So Kang,
Yeah.
is he in the comics bigger, better than Thanos? I don't know where Thanos fits in the overall lore of everything. Like,
Kang
if he's not, why is he being introduced as the bigger baddie now?
Kang is he is someone he can wipe Thanos out, but Kang is also or Krang is the type of villain to like not do anything big like that. He likes to
Yeah.
fuck around in the behind the scenes, but he's also insanely intelligent.
But see,
So he's kind of like Loki.
you're first going to see him in the Ant-Man 3.
Yeah. So it's very much like he does his own shit, and because he can do his own shit, he's cool. But when the superhero shit starts feeding into his shit, he's like, all right, now I'm gonna fuck with you because you're fucking with my shit. That's what Kang is all about.
Who's going to be the new Avengers? I mean, am I going to have to sit through a movie where Miss Marvel and Wanda and fucking She-Hulk is the new Avengers? Because I don't have any interest in
I mean,
I
they
have
could
no idea.
do West Coast Avengers.
Are they going to do
they can-
Daredevil as an Avenger? Are they going to do the Punisher as an Avenger? I could sit through that.
That's
maybe.
that's why I'm saying Disney built they built the Marvel saga on the Avengers. It's like if those guys are aging out, you can't still do the Avengers. People are not going to be okay with that. You got to do something else. Just reset the universe. I feel like
mean-
they have to.
I mean,
they have to.
Here's the thing. I mean, they're not going to do this, but what if you did set up the end of this cinematic universe to where you tie it into Fantastic Four, where something that goes on between that movie and is part of an explosion or whatever happens on Earth to reset time to a certain point. Because the thing about it is, if you're going to reset time, you really need to start where the mutants are already a thing.
Dude, they can do it from Kang. They can introduce Galactus eating their universe, eating their worlds, and Fantastic Four through time travel goes to another universe and kind of explains, Galactus follows them. Like,
so
you can
would that
do
work
so
then?
many
Where
things.
you can take it's a tie-in, but it's a reset to where the last movie introduces the Fantastic Four, but not as the Fantastic Four. Then Earth is being swallowed up, and they take off, and so you can maintain a couple cast members from this universe. Meanwhile, having an entirely different dimension that starts off, you know what I mean? Like, and then you have Doctor Doom follow them, and like, does that that's the thing is, even if you reset it, they have no starting point. They've got all this shit developed as far as TV shows and everything for this universe, unless Secret Invasion's gonna flip it all and end it all. But I feel like they're gonna bring more people back than anything with that.
Well, Secret Invasion pisses me off. It's a show. It's a fucking TV show.
I think what's gonna happen, and I bet money on this, is I think by the end of 2023, Kevin Feige is gonna step down from.
And James
Being
Gunn is
the-
stepping in. Bye bye, all you superhero bitches.
I feel like with the way this phase is going, someone in Disney is probably not happy, and I foresee him stepping down no later than the end of 2023.
Well, Disney's going to have to take some credit for the writing being so terrible.
Writing is bad.
Like, here's the thing. She-Hulk doesn't appeal to me. But that doesn't mean it's a bad show. It's a bad show because the writing is bad. It's a bad show because in one episode, she's talking about how she deals with real shit as a woman. And then in the next episode, about how she wants to be taken seriously. And then 2 episodes later, she's twerking. in
Well,
her
I don't-
office.
Oh, it
like,
gets even
the
worse.
writing
You
just
should
doesn't
see
make
the second
sense.
to last episode. The
Oh.
second to last episode will fucking infuriate you.
Now I
I
feel
know.
I
infuriated
haven't
me.
You watched it all?
I haven't watched it yet, but
I
I feel
did.
like Wanda's probably got okay writing. It's just a weird fucking show.
See, but
Yeah, I
to
did
to
like
me,
Wanda.
I don't even care if Loki was amazing. I think Disney stepping into making Marvel shows was not a good decision.
Well, when you have a monopoly swallow up every fucking property known to man that people care about, yeah, Disney is Disney washing shit.
I
I
think it
was
hurt the writing. They should have stuck with movies only for Marvel.
Mhm.
I was okay with the Agents of Shield being the only TV show that they did because they still tied in some of the stories that was happening in the movies with like Ghost Rider being there because they couldn't put him in the movie anymore and doing stuff like that.
But
I
see,
was
that's the
okay
thing
with
is,
that kind of stuff.
I don't want to see Ghost Rider as a fucking a side character in a TV show.
But
But they
Agents
were-
of Shield fucked up because there were certain things where like the movie would come out, they would release an episode that tied into what happened in the movie, and you'd be like, "You fucking ruined it for me because
Well,
I
yeah,
didn't see the movie yet."
that was the problem with that. Yeah.
Like I was like, "Nah, fuck that."
Fuck that. Fuck them. Eat their flesh, guys. Let's give a hot dog review. Back to normal Chicago dogs once again. All beef Vienna on a sesame seed or poppy seed bun. So don't take a drug test. If you like it, sport peppers. I don't prefer the ultra green relish. I like regular Vlasic sweet relish or dill. Plus a spear pickle, onions, celery, salt. Not too much though. That shit ruins it in my opinion. People go.
Yeah, and
some of these
also-
places go way too heavy with celery salt. And it's like, what the fuck? I'm not
Yeah,
a coal miner.
Celery salt,
should've
yeah,
been
ruined
real-
it.
A real poppy seed bun, you can't even see the fucking bread. It's all black.
Yeah, it's literally you're picking them out for 3 hours later from your teeth.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
As soon
Anywho,
as you pick it up, it's just fucking rolling off. You're like, what
Dude,
the fuck?
is there anything worse than like trying a new place that has like 3 hot dog with fries for $8 and then being just like, oh, these are garbage? But is there anything better than trying a place for 3 hot dogs for $8 with fries
Yes,
and
true.
them being solid fucking hot dogs? Like every
Well,
time
that's
we try a
the
new place
dilemma.
and they're good, it's like, dude, $8 I get 3 badass hot dogs and fries, or it's yeah, I see why that's $8. Yeah, I get it.
But,
Never-
but
I've never found a
that's
place
the
with 3 hot
dilemma.
dogs.
It's like you see it on the menu, you're like, I have to try this, even
Yeah,
if I don't want a hot
yeah.
dog.
Like every time we go to a place like that, it's like I'm either gonna get a beef or fucking the 3 hot dog special to try it because I need those are my standards. Like, how's your beef? How's your hot dogs? And then if they have it, how's your chili?
Every hot dog joint I've been to, they've only had the 2 hot dog specials, never 3.
Out here,
For me-
there's a place where you get the 3 hot.
Or-
it used to be $6.99. Now it's 3 hot dogs plus fries for $8. It's
Or-
fucking
or you
Southside
get-
Ghetto special.
Or you get 1 pound hot dog, which is a fucking big ass hot dog.
Double dog, I hate how deceiving it is because it's just 2 hot dogs and a bun. And I used to when I was younger, I thought that was a 2 hot dog special, but nay, that's a double dog.
No, it's just 2 hot dogs and a bun. Yeah.
Have you ever had a pound hot dog? The fucking it looks like a
From
whole
the
chorizo.
Vienna, yeah.
It looks like a whole chorizo.
Yeah, I think we get quarter pounders from the hot dogs. When you go to the factory, they got like 3rd pounders and shit too. But it's a thing. I always get the jumbo dog if they got it. If I'm ordering from fucking Portillo's, I get a jumbo dog.
I think we should make Giovanni go last with his or should he go first to defend it? I don't know.
Fuck yeah, I'm going first.
Yeah, he should go
I
first.
love-
Everybody who chose the movie has to defend it or give their review first.
So I do love this movie for all the worst reasons. I do. It is a bad movie though. The story's all fucked up. The lore's makes no goddamn sense. It's like if you watched a movie based on a video game and it was a completely different movie and they just slapped the name on it. Like that's I kid you not. It's like if you went in
Kind of
like,
like
oh, I'm gonna
Resident
watch
Evil,
this
the
movie.
TV show.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yes, exactly like that. So I'm gonna give this 5 hot dogs because I love this movie.
Dude, are
Okay.
you serious?
That dude,
But each hot dog has a bomb in it. So
see, I feel like we need to have a nostalgia review and a realistic
okay,
review.
so nostalgia
'Cause
review, it's 5.
If you give it a 5 in the realistic review, it discredits any review you do from here on out.
Yeah, no. Nostalgia, it's a 5. Realistically, this is like a 1.5 for me. Like it's I like this movie, but watching it today, it was rough to get through. It was. Like
Just
it's, you know,
weak with
like
A
rough
lot of it
against
was the cut, though. I'm gonna. I'll go.
So
I'll go into
yeah.
that.
I watch both cuts because I love the movie, so I watch this movie twice. But even watching it Blu-ray 1080 standard cut, it's still rough to get through, man. Like it drags on in places it doesn't need to. Then if you really like Super Mario, the little tidbits they're throwing in there make no fucking sense. Like
No,
they're
and
there and you're like,
you
what?
only like them because they're the only thing that references actual Mario shit, which
Exactly.
is terrible. Where it's
Exactly.
like the little bomb, like stuff like that, like
Trust the fungus.
is cute and fun, but it's also like they literally play the theme song from the game at the end of shit like that. It's just
Well,
it's
they play the theme song in the beginning, at the end, and then in the elevator when the Koopas are dancing.
yeah.
If you're listening real close when they enter the elevator, they're playing Super Mario 2's theme song.
Okay, so all right, Nostalgia 5, 1.5 realistic. Alex.
Yeah.
For me, for nostalgia, I'm gonna go right into it. Is a 4. But this cut that we watched is a fucking 1. Um, I could watch the original and put it on like a background filler, and it'll keep me interested in it. And every time I hear something, I look and I laugh about it, and shit like that. But this version of it that we watched, I fucking fell asleep. I had to rewind it a couple times, and it pissed me off because it's fucking 2 hours and 20 minutes, or no, 2 hours and 5 minutes, and I had to like rewind it at least 3 times because I fell asleep a couple times because that other shit that they added was just it it was I guess it was like something that they were trying to do because they
What
couldn't
was it? An
accomplish it.
extra
Well, no.
extra 20 minutes?
It was
they
an extra
added?
20
It's
minutes.
extra
yeah.
20 minutes.
It was
Yeah.
it
Holy
was rough
shit.
cut footage.
But
So
they,
like I
but
said,
they couldn't accomplish what they were trying to show.
well, you got to remember the whole story behind this is this was a VHS that was discovered from the director or whoever
Yeah.
who had cut basically his dailies together, or he had found the old footage and cut it together on a VHS.
It was 2 directors. The female director is the one that her name is Jankel. She's the one that did this version of it. She wanted to put all this stuff into it and do it, but it made no point.
It
to cut that
adds
extra
nothing
stuff.
to it.
It was redundant stuff. It was like stuff that was duplicated. It was just weird character scenes that just didn't need to be put in there. And
All
yeah,
right, so
I fell
yours
asleep a
is-
few times. This
you
one's a
said
1 for the
4 and 1.
4 original, 1 for this one.
I don't have nostalgia glasses for this movie. This movie's a 2. The director's Frankenstein cut we watched it's a 0. Straight up, the movie itself is horribly acted, minus Bob Hoskins.
R.I.P.
The writing is shit. The movie is so loosely tied to the lore that it's not a Super Mario Brothers movie. And I don't care if they add in the going into a tunnel sound during that luge scene. That's stupid.
No, it makes no
shit.
fucking sense. Dude, fucking dinosaurs in another dimension who evolved like humans. Fuck you. That's not even in the fucking
Yeah,
game.
it makes no fucking sense. It's just it's one of those movies that, like, for me, even if I like this cut itself is particularly bad. It's a Frankenstein cut. It really just shouldn't exist. The scenes that are in it are so distracting at their lack of quality that they don't add anything. I hated this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I fucking hated it. And every time one of those fucking scenes with numbers would pop up and the audio would go, it just drove me fucking nuts. It was like, it was fucking with my ADD, man. Like, every time that happened, I was just like, fuck this. Like, I hate this. Like, it pissed me off. So yeah, I'll give the standard cut a 2, and I'm gonna give this cut a 0. It really is an awful piece of shit. Go on.
Yeah, me. I didn't remember much of this movie at all. I remember being really little and liking Super Mario and thinking the Super Mario bits were cool.
Yeah, why is Mario British?
But as an adult now, yes, I mean nostalgia probably 3.5 realist, but real review this is a 2. And I'm gonna just announce now, none of my reviews for any of these movies are gonna go higher than a 3. There's a reason they're all trash. Yeah, but no, I think a fun experiment, if you will, if you have little ones, preferably like younger than 10 who like Mario, when the new Mario comes out, tell them you actually got it at home and record them as you play this and see their reaction.
and
Yeah,
send it
no.
to Jimmy
If you
Kimmel.
did that to me as a kid, I'd fucking never. I'd be a school shooter. I'd never forgive you.
Jimmy
Yeah,
Kimmel
there's-
does that shit with Halloween candy.
Today, a 5-year-old boy burnt down his house after
Right.
his father made.
Yeah, he kept shouting "fuck Bob Hoskins." We don't understand what happened. We don't even. How does he know who Bob Hoskins is?
Did Jen have any reviews for this, or is it just
Yes,
somebody who's
yes,
never been
thank you.
kissed?
Yeah, what did she give? I don't have a nostalgia slash because a lot of these she didn't watch. But
Yeah, I think she said something about she'd rather eat glass than watch this.
no, that was me. I was eating glass while watching it. She gave this one, oddly enough, a 3. Poor taste, Jennifer. Yeah. So she gave it a 3. We as we watched it, I was ripping on it, and it just she knew I was upset and just mad at the cut, and I was just getting annoyed every time, or every time like a wind blew, my phone would knock out the fucking screen sharing to my TV, to my Apple TV, and then the Internet Archive website didn't save your place at all, so I'd have to refine where I was every fucking time.
It did not.
I
save
think
your
a
place.
more fun experience would be to watch you trying to watch the movie.
Oh, dude, I gotta be honest with you. This one gave me a particular hard time of just like, it really tested my patience.
Didn't you say at one point that you had an HDMI cable that you run from your TV to the PC?
I'm actually using that now to plug into the PS5 to the capture card because I don't have enough room on my desk because it's a planet of a console.
But I'm saying like you could have done that. Just moved it over.
No, we
for
were in
one-
the living room. That's in the
for
bedroom.
one day.
I'm not moving my
Oh,
fucking PC
okay.
rig into the living room.
No, I thought you had a cable that ran to your living room.
No, I have a 10-foot HDMI, not a 100-foot one.
Oh, okay.
You know how bad that signal would be on top of it? 100 feet of HDMI. The lag would be fucking garbage.
That input delay.
Oh god, it'd be fucking 2 seconds. Let's see. Did I get rid of all the spam?
You did.
All right.
Did
good.
we get spam?
Yeah, of course.
Twice
Of course.
now.
We got hit twice now. Okay, so the next
That fucking
movie,
mega.
Alex, I believe you are the chooser of this next master shit.
Yes. Gleaming the Cube.
So why did you choose this, Alex?
I don't know. It's something that every time I see it, if I come across it, I fucking watch it. If it was on back in the day when I had cable, if it was on TV, I'd fucking watch it. When they had it on regular network TV, I'd fucking watch it. I think a big part of it was because in my time, skating was starting to become a big thing, and that was like everybody wanted to be a skater, and this had all those guys in there. Fucking Tony Hawk, fucking I think Berkowitz is in there. No.
Bob
Who's the other guy
Burnquist
with
is
H?
not in there.
Who's the guy with the? No, there were a lot of secondary guys that were in there. All those other skaters, those are all fucking real skaters.
Yeah, but they're not in. They're in the movie as in they're at the skate park
Yeah,
skating.
but they're not themselves. They're the people that are just fucking around.
The main cast is basically Christian Slater and the evil Vietnamese.
And the guy from what is it called, Scarface? He's
What?
the one that fucks Tony's sister.
What role did he
The
play?
cop that's in this one.
That guy in
He's
Scarface?
He's Tony's best. He's Tony's best.
Oh, he's
friend.
the one that slaps his sister, right?
No, he's the one that falls in love with her, or whatever.
Okay, I
don't know.
I haven't watched
I don't know.
Scarface in a while.
Any of these characters'
He puts a
names?
grenade in her pussy. That's what happened.
Lovely feller. So go on and
But-
explain yourself for this movie.
But yeah, so like that was something that everybody wanted to be a part of, was the whole skating thing, and it didn't make any sense. But just you had a fucking skating movie back then, and it was more of like we can make fun of it as we're watching it, because when he does that last scene where he's riding the skateboard and he does the jump, and he fucking does that whole pose while he's flying through the air to hit the guy with the skateboard.
Through the window.
Through the window
Accomplishes
and-
nothing but giving the guy a getaway door.
Yeah, but it was just something that we used to make fun of, and it just became something that I would watch all the time, over and over.
So I
it was
imagine
just-
this
it was, like,
movie
entertaining.
was kind of like trying to ride the coattails of the uprising of skateboarding, and they just tried to get it out as
It was
quickly
very
as
much
possible.
they were trying to turn
probably.
it into an action movie.
Okay.
My name is
Yeah.
Christian Slater, and this is CKY.
Christian Slater's character defines gleaming the cube as pushing your limits to the edge.
So let's
So,
start.
okay.
Let's start with him. Well, actually, there's so many things to rip. So I haven't. I can't even say this word, to be honest with you. It'll get us in trouble. Why were the Vietnamese the bad guys? Like, didn't they get enough in 80s cinema with every action movie ever made after Vietnam?
Well, this was the end of the 80s too.
some exec like saw that there was something else, and he's like, you know what? Make them Vietnamese.
Like, yeah, like literally, this movie makes no sense, right? His fucking adopted Vietnamese brother is working for his girlfriend's father for 2 weeks, stumbles on discrepancies in numbers, and winds up dead. And only Christian Slater, and a handsome, rugged, yet lovable cop, is the only one that can help him. From that premise, you should run away. From what I just said, you should never consider watching this movie. Because it is as bad as you think it is, because those scenes that you like of skater culture are so fucking cringe. Every time Christian Slater is skating down the roads, and I couldn't tell if this was San Francisco and LA, because I think they filmed it in both areas. Every time he's doing his skating and it's just some shitty Gennaro rock song behind him, dude, it's so cringe. He does all those like weird like hand motions. Like, who are you doing that for?
And the
But not
fucking
only
rating's
that-
not fucking right either.
Like gleaming the cube is supposed to be a state of mind, a point when you're skating, kind of like their nirvana, if you will, like reaching that point.
Runner's
They don't-
high.
The only time it is mentioned in this movie is when he's in the little fucking he's down there modifying his skateboard, and the guy
With
tells him,
Yabo?
he's like,
With
yeah,
Yabo.
like the whole scene where at the end, the chase scene, the skate scene where he's running through the highway, going under trucks, like you would think he would mention a gleaming the cube
Right.
moment, never fucking mentioned again. They could have
Going-
called this movie fucking Trucks, or you know what I mean? Like,
going under the truck was the
would've
fucking
worked.
stupidest scene that when he does the whole fucking pose and he goes under the truck.
You could get away with calling this white kids with parents with money. You could also call it that, because that's all it is. I mean, including Tony Hawk's white bread ass in this.
Couldn't you just call it privilege?
Yeah, they could have called it skater privilege, and it's just, hey, we're white and my parents have money. Let's go skate in neighbors' pools. Like, I shit you not.
Let's get in our friend Cessna and fucking look for pools. empty
Every
pools.
time there was a scene where like one of the characters like walked away on camera, I'm over here. I was commentary, just be like, I'm gonna go glean more. And then as they're riding when he's doing any one of his skate scenes, I was going gleaming, because it's that fucking dumb. The whole concept is ludicrous, right? Literally, the cop is telling him, hey man, you need to back off. And he's just like, nah man, only me and my ragtag group of skater friends can solve my, for some reason, 18-year-old Vietnamese adopted brother. And then there's like the scene where he's like, you hate me because they adopted me, don't you? Hasn't it been like a decade? Like, I doubt he fucking hates you. You're playing chess with each other. And then there's, of course, the scene when his father's waiting for him outside to tell him that his Vietnamese not brother is dead. And then you get why would they choose to do the distance? Could Christian Slater not cry? So they did like the distance, just him. Fucking,
Yeah.
I don't understand why he was ever popular in the 80s or 90s. I don't understand.
It was the cynical thing, I think, that everybody loved about him. And it was
So you
mostly
just
the
started
women.
with Saber.
It was the women.
I literally only think of him from the Saber commercial in Broken Arrow at
So
this point.
I think of two things when I think of Christian Slater. I think of Saber, but I do think of a movie. It's a video game adaptation by Uwe Boll,
Oh,
Alone in the Dark.
Ugh, you suck. That movie sucks.
Is that the one with the flashlights and the little kid?
Yes,
Okay.
it's not good.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
Alex unfortunately doesn't have any room to talk. I mean, he chose fucking Uwe Boll's House of the Dead for a first date movie, so there is that. I mean, maybe you guys should have watched Alone in the Dark.
It's what was free at the time when I was dating my wife.
That's not how you do dates. It's not, hey, this is free. Let's watch this awful movie. Yeah, this was another one that was honestly very hard for me to get through. Yeah, it was just dumb. And I just thought the skating scenes is so cringe.
The skate scenes are bad.
Like they're
really
so
Yeah, they're really
fucking
bad.
cringe, dude. And then it's like, I mean, and then you have another movie that rips off shit. Like they rip off the whole black skateboard with chrome trimming from fucking Suburban Commando.
Yeah.
Like the whole ending of like, fix me up a deck, bro. And it's the same skateboard Hulk Hogan fucking used at the end of the movie. Like, it's just, there was just some, and his acting is nobody's acting is good. The cop is just like, at what point do you not arrest this kid? He's like obstruction. Like
he's obstructing the,
like he's fucking your investigation up. If you go into a home and he's breaking in because he did the same clues as you, you're a shit cop, bro. Like this kid's a fucking burnout. Like the movie starts with basically like there should just be an arrow and it's the arrow with a piece of shit written over his head. The whole first act of the fucking movie. And then you get your Grease moment where he fucking shows up as a white bread that he actually is, you know, because you understand the difference between punk rock and skater is really just slicking your hair back and taking a fucking shower. The fact that him changing who he is involves showering. Like, what kind of crusty fuck are you? You disgust. You probably he stank the whole fucking movie. Put on a
sweater too.
It was a Cosby sweater.
I do
the Cosby sweater.
My thing with movies with like skate scenes or like even BMX scenes is they always are super cheesy. This movie did that even worse. Another issue I have being someone that actually skateboarded is you can tell when someone doesn't skateboard when they do what's called mall grabbing, which if you hold your board by the trucks, you like there's a reason people get called a fucking poser because no one holds their board like that. And it's funny because in all the scenes where it's supposed to be Christian Slater and it's a skater, even when the dude gets off the board, he holds it by the wood. And in the scenes with Christian Slater, when he's just holding the skateboard, he's mall grabbing it.
Yeah, where it's got the vertical grip, where he's just holding it and it's just hanging down. Yeah. The only time I've ever seen actual skaters grab it that way is if they're going to swing it at somebody. Like, straight up. That's the only time a real skater would grab it that way, is if he's going to use it as a fucking weapon. I've seen that.
Also, the beginning of this movie where him and his buddies hitch a ride on a plane to go look for a spot to skate. What?
The dude in the convertible on the expressway where he's like, whoa! And then he's just like, hey, don't worry about me over here. I'm Marty McFly in your vehicle. And he's just like, all right, buddy. Like, he starts speed. Like, there's a fucking 14-year-old hanging off of the back of your car. You should probably pull over.
Funny if, like, there was a scene where his skateboard is like, he's like, oh, shit.
I should tell you this car is stolen and I'm drunk. like that.
I'm fucking high on cocaine.
I guess I don't have a whole lot to say. This movie, from head to fucking toe, is cringe. And it's not surprising that Alex would pick it between this and the Corey movies he loves so much. It makes sense.
This
movie also should technically
80s movie though.
It's very 80s, yeah.
Very. It also should have a sad ending because technically he's the reason her father died. Coming through that window, distracting the guy, and then he shoots him. Like, it's his fault.
Well, then when he asked her, he's like,
he's dating his dead brother's girlfriend too.
Yeah, so his dead Vietnamese adopted 18-year-old brother is dating this girl. Her father has him killed, essentially, or he gets killed under his care. And then she immediately is like, I guess I'll fuck you now. And they're together at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
then, the whole scene where then, like, at the end when he's like, what about your father? And she's just like,
I know, yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Like, knowing it's just.
That was a dark scene. I was like, holy shit.
And then his whole thing is like, he's almost got like the bummer type look on his face. Like, the way they handle death in this movie is so fucking haphazard. It's inconsequential. Like, and like, seriously, I need to know if in this script it was just the G word for Vietnamese people for every character that was Vietnamese, because this movie hates Vietnamese people. Like, they are villains in this fucking movie.
It does.
Also, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. The brother who got killed, it was his own fault. He got killed. His boss told him not to look into stuff.
Well, you know, you leave it to an Asian person to go above and beyond in their job, and it gets them killed. I mean, that's why they rule the world. He's keeping the. By the way, what job do you get? Oh, that's the other thing they don't fully explain is he's 18. Like, so he doesn't even have like the height. Like, and I think they only did that so they weren't killing an underage kid in the movie. Because they
Yeah, 'cause
explicitly
that'd be
say he
kinda
was
rough
18.
Yeah.
if it was an underage kid. I don't think they would have allowed it. I'm
Cla-
surprised they wouldn't have allowed it back then.
The problem is this movie isn't made for anybody, right? It's not made for adults to enjoy. It's not made for real kids that were skating at that time to enjoy. It was just they were trying to tap into pop culture.
Let me see how much this movie made.
1674. That's $16.74.
2.7
Thousand?
million.
Budget was 10 million.
It was 10 million.
Oh.
2.7.
10 million? That's like Beverly Hills Cop money.
That's estimated.
All of that went to Christian Slater's hair products. Are we ready to give this thing some hot dogs?
Yeah, I'll go first. Oh god, this one's a 2.
No nostalgia. None.
No, there's nostalgia because it was made in '89 and that's when I was born.
Oh yeah, you saw it in the just
No,
born chamber.
This was made before I was born, but while I was in my dad's nuts as a sperm, my nostalgia for this movie was 0.
Your
so
mom and him went on a date to watch it.
I'm gonna go with a 2 out of 5. No, it's like this is like 80s schlock. Like I could see this like running on syndication. Like you'd see it and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna sit down and watch it."
I'm
It
gonna
was on
say this.
WGN fucking at
Yeah,
midnight.
and
every
How
night.
how has Mystery Science Theater not done this movie though? It seems
don't
right.
know.
Though,
This
you know
is
what I mean?
totally a
But
Mystery Science Theater movie.
I can also understand what Alex is saying. I could see myself being like a young kid in the 80s. Like I don't know who the fuck Christian Slater is, but oh, it's a movie about skateboarding. I'll sit down and watch it. I'll get to the end and be like, oh, the skating was cool.
But the problem is, kids at that age, like you're not going to get later teens to go see this.
Because I was 13. I was 13 when I saw this.
The kids that would want to see this would have been about your age. But if any adult at that time would take their kid to watch this, they'd be like, "What the fuck? Did they just murder that kid? Like, what the fuck is going on here? I took you to see a skater movie," and even the kids would be like, "What the fuck? There's murder? I just want to watch a skater movie."
Also, as soon as I saw Tony Hawk with the wavy hair, my first thought was like, that dude looks like a bitch.
That bleach blonde
he was so fucking lanky too.
He looks like such a loser.
He looked like a fucking like the bald eagle and shit. Like a baby bald
Bear
eagle.
Margera should have been in there at 4 years old. It made so much better.
Yeah, this is a 2 out of 5 for me.
Giovanni?
1. I'm done.
I gotta be. I'm gonna give it a 1. It was the second hardest movie to get through.
It was better than Mario. Huh?
I think this episode out of the whole year will have the harshest scores on everything.
I literally titled it tentatively for the live stream, Nerdattude Movie Podcast versus the worst. Alex.
I love this movie, but I'm still gonna give it a 2 because it is a bad movie. But like I said, it is something that whenever I see it on, I watch it. I gravitate towards it just like fucking Waterworld for some reason. And The Postman. I fucking gravitate towards those movies just to fucking watch it.
I don't understand how somebody like you who bitches about falling asleep through movies all the time can watch The fucking Postman. How does that even happen?
Those are the movies that don't fucking put me to sleep.
The most boring fucking movies in the world don't put you to sleep. Because The Postman's one of the most boring fucking movies in the world.
It is, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't. There's just something about the fucking movie that just
like we literally review like crazy horror movies and badass action movies. Man, I had to fucking go back 4 times. I fell asleep. Fucking Gleaming the Cube, eyes wide the fuck open the whole time.
Yeah.
I don't Postman.
With this Christian Slater poster behind him.
I don't know what it is about the Postman, but I can't even blink when I watch it.
The only thing about Christian Slater that I've seen, I think it was after this, was Heathers. The only thing that I ever liked him in.
I didn't like Heathers. I knew he was very like that was a very popular movie. It had a cult classic following.
But I also from my time, the whole cynical thing about a character being cynical, that was like a lot of what everybody was because there was no internet, there was no all that other bullshit. So when you see somebody doing that kind of stuff and talking that way, it's like, oh, you can talk that way.
That was also the 80s skater culture of like,
So what you're saying is you guys were just dumber back.
No, the people just gravitated towards that stuff. They didn't do it themselves.
What was this movie rated? I didn't even pay attention. Was it PG-13 or was it? PG-13 was invented with Indiana Jones. I'm
It
pretty
is
sure.
PG-13
I couldn't
in
get a read on it
'89.
because it's just garbage.
But
You
yeah,
gave it a 2, Alex?
it is a 2. What the guy that I was talking about, Stephen Bauer, he's the one that plays the cop.
Yeah.
I think later he goes on to the CW universe of DC, and I think he plays Deathstroke.
Interesting.
That makes me want to watch the CW that much less. Like knowing that they hired this fucking guy.
I think he was. Yeah, he was Deathstroke.
All right, well, hold on, that's right, Jen. I gotta get Jen's review on it. 2. She gave it a 2. She's on the money on that one. I don't know about fucking Mario Brothers. All right, we're gonna go through this one real goddamn quick. Never Been Kissed. Jen is not with us. She cannot explain it. So I will. She's got shit taste. This is a favorite movie of hers. She puts it on to fall asleep to. I had, before watching it in its entirety last night, which spawned nightmares when I eventually did go to sleep. I'd seen bits and pieces through her watching it. I do not like this movie. I think the biggest issue with this movie is its tonal imbalance. This movie was made in '99, and it shows because you have almost a wannabe ripoff of every high school comedy that came before it in the late 80s, early 90s. You've got Clueless ripoff. You've got
Risky Business.
Well, they have the Halloween costume. You've also got even the start. Never 10 Things I Hate About You ripoff. Like all of those movies that were better than this movie.
Did Jawbreaker come out before this one?
Around the same time. I think Jawbreaker might have been 01-ish.
Because I think that was like another one.
But the massive problem with this movie is its tonal imbalance, and frankly, Drew Barrymore is unlikable. She is not likable in this movie in any way, shape, or form. The only redeeming character in the whole movie is John C. Reilly.
I don't like Drew Barrymore in any movie.
I don't either.
Yeah, she in this movie. She's very actually, and it just makes me want to punch someone.
It's an actress in her late 20s trying to act 16, and it's terrible.
Her character is the Hermione Granger of this movie. Actually, it's this.
Yeah, the correcting. I'm sorry, bitch. You correct my fucking grammar one more time, I'm gonna put your head through the wall. Don't do. I'm gonna wash your mouth out with the brick. Correct me again.
So Jawbreaker came out in February, and this one came out in April.
So both 99.
Yeah.
What this movie needed was Chris Hansen.
Okay, so let's dive into that. That'll be the subject of the majority of what we're going to discuss on this movie. Throughout the movie, Drew Barrymore and the teacher start to develop a weird, inappropriate relation, to the point where when they are on the Ferris wheel together, he even says, "I shouldn't tell you that you're hot because I'm your teacher." Now,
and Drew Barrymore is supposed to be a 17-year-old senior.
Yes.
Well, their first interaction when he sees her in the class, he's like staring and he's like, "You're not a student, are you?"
Yeah, he goes, "How old are you?"
Sure.
He actually says, "How old are you?" And it's like, you IDing her to fuck her? Like, and then the problem I have with it is, I understand it's under the precedence that she lied, but immediately as soon as she announces that she's actually 25, he loses all attraction to her. Yeah. Yes, it's because she lied, but the fact that 10 minutes prior you wanted to fuck your 17-year-old student and you were contemplating what to do there, and then she announces she's not 17, and it's like,
who through a majority of the movie looks pale-faced and dying.
What's crazy interesting about that concept is even when he has the conversation with her after confronting her outside, and he says, you were setting me up to write a story on me. Yeah. Nobody talks about underage. Nobody talks about their age difference.
I was going to say, he just admits guilt of basically like, you're writing a story about me wanting to fuck a student, aren't you?
Yeah. And the only time they point out that this is inappropriate is when she goes to her brother and she's like, "You do know she's 16, right?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Oh yeah,
that's the only time.
By the way, everybody watching her camera is a ripoff of Ed TV, which is a good movie. If you've never seen Ed TV, it's a Ron Howard joint.
Doesn't John C. Reilly also say that the reason why they're going with the story is because they want to get this teacher that's inappropriate.
Well, yeah, but that's only after them viewing him wanting to fuck her. Like, that's
Mhm.
the whole thing, is she's such a shit reporter that the story of all the kids
But-
partying at the quarry gets posted by another newspaper, and he's watching the footage, and everybody except her is going, this teacher wants to fuck her. That's a little weird, no? So then it's like, let's do a story on him because he clearly wants to fuck a student.
But did they say like, hey, we should get police involved in this? And the
No.
no,
Yeah, no.
but
They
should
don't
have.
even really say that they want. I mean, it's like one line of dialogue explaining that he's now the focus.
Well,
As
you
I
guys
say,
are-
it's
you guys are
skirted around
forgetting
entirely.
The second creep, her brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he
Who
does
for-
have some restraint.
No.
He goes along with it, but he's a fuck up. He's a fuck
Well,
up.
he forges a high school ID to try to get on the baseball team to make
Yeah.
it into the state team because he's such a fucking bum. He works at Tiki Hut or whatever the fuck it was
Which
called.
there's no tiki huts in Chicago, just so everybody knows.
Well, here's the part that gets me with
Anymore.
her brother. They point out in that party, she pulls him to the side, hey, you know she's 16. And then the awkwardness between them when she admits she wants to have sex with him. And then near the end of the movie, when they point out that he's older, he's now a coach for
Yeah.
the school.
Yeah.
Yeah, was that
And
was
all
that
is forgiven.
just
was
All is
that his
forgiven.
reward for not fucking the chick? Who, like, by the
I was
way,
like,
All is
how
forgiven.
is there not a teacher chaperone going, that bitch is showing her pussy to that guy? Like, there's not one teacher going, hey, you see that student that's 16? I don't know why she's at the senior prom, by the way. That doesn't make sense. Who is she with? She's not with anybody. How is she in the fucking senior prom at 16?
Or also letting the brother in just fucking underwear. Like that's
Like,
Yeah.
just
yeah.
Why did the school let him in his
I
underwear?
will- I will say 9/11 stopped a lot of this goofiness.
Yes.
Like, this shit in movies stopped happening after 9/11.
And I can't see chat, but if anybody has ever thought, oh, it's because of the times now. No, this movie
no.
is fucking weird. Like,
But
there's a lot
but
of
before-
weird undertones.
But out of the 5 movies that we chose, this is the one that is the norm for everybody. Out of the 5 that we chose.
Well, I think this movie has more of a cult following. Like, it isn't Clueless. It isn't Mean Girls.
Okay, I can see that then. All right.
Like, those
Slavi
movies.
says I'm watching it now.
Oh God, you pedo. No.
You pay to file.
All right. With that said, let's give hot dogs on this because it's one of those movies that just like, I don't know what they were going for. They were definitely trying to cash in on the American Pie sort of style of movie, but also keeping it centered around this stupid. It's a weird mix of tones in it, and then you've got the pedo teacher. Or the herbivore teacher, sorry. Hot dogs on this one. Jen gave this, I believe, a 5. Yeah, so that's going to be her nostalgia review.
Is there an explanation with
I
it?
don't think Jen has a nostalgia review. Oh, wait, I'm going to write the reboot and make it set in college. How about you don't even need to make it set in college? Just don't have a teacher trying to fuck a 17-year-old student in it.
Yeah,
or a
it's
teacher
super
trying to
weird.
fuck a student in general.
Or
Just-
just don't do it.
Yeah,
Just
that's
don't
probably
do
a
it.
better option. It's better,
Don't do it.
with Potato Face. She's the 3rd Potato Face now. Yeah, Jen is giving us
Recast
a
it with
5.
Elizabeth Moss. Matt would love that.
Oh yeah.
That would be literally the only way you could make it worse is to put her in it. Her and Gerard Butler as the teacher.
Oh, gee.
Oh,
Look,
God,
every
yeah.
potato face we can think of in Hollywood is in this fucking garbage reboot. Jen does give it a 5. I don't. I give it a 1. Didn't like it. I normally can kind of get on board with a lot of, like, I can get on board with Clueless. I can get on board with 10 Things I Hate About You. I can get on casting Amber Heard for the teacher. I mean, I guess if you like people who shit on beds,
So yeah, so they can poop on you.
maybe there'll be a poop scene along with the pedophile scene. Doesn't make it any better if it's Amber Heard fucking a 17-year-old dude. Still creepy. Like,
I'm more into the
you know.
10 Things I Hate About You and She's All That vibe.
Like, I can even do She's All That. I can do 10 Things I Hate About You. I can do
As long as the relationships are within their age range and for whatever.
Clueless. I can even watch Mean Girls. Like, the problem with this movie
But
is
even Clueless.
the writing's not good. It's
No.
not funny. The characters are hateable. Even the only one that isn't hateable is the not hot friend, you know, the nerd girl who clearly isn't hot. And then what's that? At the end of the thing, she's in a jumpsuit that shows off that she's clearly fucking hot. Another thing of like, the nerd girls didn't look like that. That's not how it works, okay? The ostracized nerd girls looked like ostracized fucking nerd girls. They didn't look like Mira, whatever the fuck her last Serena or whatever her name is.
What kind of nerd girls did you have? Because the nerd girls that were in my school, they actually looked pretty good.
They didn't look like that. You can think they did, but they didn't.
Because even to this day, they still look good. No.
We're not talking about to this day, okay? The nerd girls, and I doubt these girls.
Are you talking about from your experience or from my experience?
I doubt these girls that you're associating as nerds were doing math decathlons.
Oh no, these were.
See, I don't believe you. You have this for one thing. You have this. You like gleaming the cube. That's already strike fucking one.
And everything that you say is fucking.
It's like God fucking wrote it in the Bible. Praise me.
But that's a fake book too. That's a fake book too. So.
Well, you know, it is what it is. No,
God's not real. Remember that.
38-year-old Amber Heard teacher falling in love with a 23-year-old. See, but that's not the same movie. That's not the same movie. This whole movie is the precedence of parents falling out of line and knowing what their high school kids are doing. Parents don't give a shit what their college kids are doing. That's why they sent them the fuck off to college. So they didn't have to worry about them anymore. They do their own fucking thing.
For me, though, it isn't just this movie. I've always found the plot of any movie where it's like, I'm going to go in and pretend I'm a kid. I've always found it's just weird. It's just
weird.
It
is.
Well, it is very much the Steve Buscemi
awkward.
with like the backpack and skateboard throughout like the whole fucking movie. Like, and she's just insufferable, dude. Like
Clueless also does this with the brother, the stepbrother who's in college, and
Paul Rudd.
And Cher is actually in high school. She's like a sophomore or something.
That's weird.
And
they
end up getting together.
And I mean,
that's wrong.
I did have buddies who were juniors and were dating freshmen. I'm afraid of you. So, like, I understand that it happens.
But if it's in high school, that's different.
But this isn't a junior dating a freshman. This is a teacher falling in love with a 17-year-old, falling out of love with the 17-year-old when she's actually 25.
Yeah, he got reverse catfished.
Yeah, it's like, wait a second, you're not as fresh as I thought you were? What? Yeah, so like
here goes Fabian.
That's the worst sentence ever. You're not as fresh as I thought you were.
Well, what am I mean, come on, like as soon as he finds out she's 25, he's like, God damn, you are 3 years past my limit. Or like 7, like the dude's hitting on fucking
7 or 8. Yeah, it is
like
7
in
or 8.
the Ferris wheel, he tells her, you know, girls like you at my age, or you know, everybody would be lining up. What?
So, but then you flash forward to the end, and she pens that letter, and I feel like this dude is like, I have to show up and kiss her, because if I don't, like, I'm the weirdo. Like, it's all on paper.
She also might as well have written in the article, like, hey, by the way, if you don't show up, I'm gonna fucking shoot myself right on the mound. Like, it's that level of fucking pressure.
I think it's even worse than that. I think it's like he showed up because he realized, okay, she is an adult, but she's a virgin, like a child.
Wow.
Was that it? He was packing his things up. He didn't even see her article. He was just like, wait a second, that's never been touched.
They need
so like all the stars aligned in his head. And he's like,
he's still a pedo, no matter what. Yep. He's looking for that blood.
They need to recut the ending like a police sting of like dudes going in the house with Chris Hansen.
So what did you mean you wanted to tickle her kitty? And why did you bring a pizza? All right.
Pepperoni.
Yeah, extra sausage, eh? Fuck.
All right, who scored it? Who scored it so far?
Jen said 5.
Jen said 5. Matt said 1. I'm gonna say 0. I didn't enjoy this movie at all. It was awkward. It was weird. I don't like Drew. I don't like her.
I don't like her as an actress either.
No.
I can't think of a movie where I really like her. Maybe Wedding Singer.
I liked her.
Says, or he fell in love with her for her mind.
I liked her when
he fell in love with a 17-year-old. It's a 17-year-old, and maybe in Alabama that's okay. Yeah. But it's a 17-year-old.
Either way it goes, she was 17.
I like Drew Barrymore when she gets murdered in Scream.
Yeah, get her in the first 5 minutes and gut her, and I like her.
That's not true. I do like her in one movie.
E.T.
Do not say Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, that's the movie.
God damn it!
Oh, are you serious? Are you fucking serious?
That's the movie.
What's his face as the bad guy is cool in those movies.
Yeah,
Giovanni,
I do-
we're
I do
gonna
love him
have
in
to
that
just
movie.
discredit every review
Crispin
you
Glover?
do if you
Yeah,
keep.
Crispin Glover.
Mhm.
If you ever want to see, I can't remember the name of it now, but there's a movie that came out within the past few years. It was on Netflix.
Willard?
No,
No, I'm not.
Smiley
I'm fucking
face?
that.
he
Murderers?
plays like a French assassin,
No,
and
not
he's just this
Smiley Face.
Oh my
crazy,
God,
brutal
yeah.
fucking dude. He's actually the best part of the movie.
It is on Netflix. It's really good.
It's surprisingly a good movie, and when he comes in, like he just takes over the movie.
Willard
That's
is
one of those
another-
actors
is
that doesn't
another
get
bad
enough
movie I like to
credit.
watch.
He's really good.
Well, he's also kooky. You know, he's like that's the other problem with him is he's a bit nutty. Like Hollywood does Hollywood is a conformist state, right? And if you're not willing as an actor to conform to their systems and their outlooks and all that shit, you know, that's why he got ostracized, because he dared to tell Zemeckis, hey, why is the moral of the story money buys happiness? Which is why he was ousted. He told Zemeckis, like, what you're saying at the end of the original Back to the Future is basically, you know, all you're going to need is money. You know, if your parents were rich, you'd be fine. And the moral of the story wasn't love brings us together, it's money. So, like, he was technically right. I mean, if you watch the original Back to the Future, it's very much like, hey, you got a nicer house, your parents are healthier, you got a pickup truck.
Mhm.
So he is kind of right, but it fucked him out of the rest. And then they used
He stole his likeness.
a plastic mold of his likeness, and they put it over the actor who was in Back to the Future 2, to which he then sued them for and won. So he was right in his lawsuit as well.
Oh, that's good. At least he won.
Slavy says, Wedding Singer, 50
Wedding
First Dates
Singer, yeah.
Ever After. Okay. Yeah, potato face, fucker. Wait, who's still got to give their numbers?
One for me.
I thought you were actually, out of all of us, would probably have liked this movie the
No,
most.
No, you said that when you said that I liked it. No, I said I think this movie was more of a mainstream title
Well, no, because I
versus
thought
the ones that we all picked.
I thought when we were talking about it and I had said Never Been Kissed, I thought you had said something like, well, that's, you know, that's not really that bad of a movie.
No, well, I said no. I said no. That's really more of a mainstream title, and the ones that we picked are all like fucking just off the fucking charts.
Yeah, McCall's Navy is non-mainstream.
It is actually. Alex is right. I thought Jen would pick something more obscure, but then again,
Yeah.
Jen doesn't watch more
No,
obscure stuff like we do.
So Jen's first choice was Almost Famous, and I had to explain to her that Almost
It's a
Famous
guilty
is
pleasure.
it's a good movie. Like
Right.
it's not. It's
Mm.
like this has to be like, and Almost Famous for her is another one of those where if she goes to bed with something on the TV 5 nights a week, 1 or 2 of those nights is Almost Famous. Like, and
It's
so
like a
it
comfort movie.
yeah, it is her comfort
Like,
guilty pleasure movie,
My
but
wife,
it's not shit, so it shouldn't be included in this list. I like the
Mm,
movie. It's a good
Yeah.
movie. It's a movie that, like, if you just like well done movies, you're gonna like Almost Famous.
like my wife, her guilty pleasure is While You're Sleeping. That movie is
That's
bad.
Bill Paxton, right?
Yeah, Bill Paxton, Sandra Bullock.
R.I.P.
Dude, why does like that's the thing is I always say like Norm Macdonald's dead, Bill Paxton's dead, Bill Pullman is who I actually meant. It's Bill
Bob Haskins
Pullman.
is dead.
Bill Pullman is in that movie, not Bill Paxton.
Oh yeah,
It's it's the guy from Spaceballs.
Independence Day. Independence
Yeah.
Day.
Mhm.
Bill Pullman's the guy. I was just remembering his face. Isn't the whole thing of like she falls onto the train tracks or something?
She's an employee of the train tracks of CTA, and he falls into the tracks, and she goes and pulls him out,
Mhm.
and then pretends to be his fiance
Oh,
to see
okay.
him because she fell in love with him as a customer passing by him.
Isn't
Which
that
is
kind
another
of
creepy thing.
Isn't that kind of a stolen
another-
story from Overboard?
Wait, hold on. So she grooms him?
Basically.
Yeah, he's in a coma.
Yeah,
And he-
that's
and
that's
she falls in love with
basically.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got
Why
it-
are
family
movies
falls
back
in love-
then so fucking
yeah,
weird?
yeah, right. Like you fall
And
onto
why
train
do, why do
tracks.
the women love them so much?
You go into a coma. When you come out, I'm telling you that we're engaged because you're cute.
and
that's the
women,
premise.
And the women that love
This
these
is
movies.
that. See, if that was opposite, he would have been Me Too so fucking.
Oh, dude.
fast in
Well,
that
it's
situation.
like, could you imagine that storyline of like the woman falls on a train track, she wakes up, and he's like, "Hey, we fuck, by the way." Yeah, there'd be a problem, a big fucking problem. Yet he's supposed to wake up and just be like, "Oh, you're my fiance. I guess I have responsibilities." The other way around, it'd be like, My name's Buck, and I like to fuck. That's what that would have been.
Kill Bill.
She ends up with her brother, though.
respond to that.
Shut up. Wow, Siri says I don't have... Literally, it read me go, you're my fiance. I guess I have responsibilities the other way around to be like, my name is Buck, and I like to fuck. That's what that would have been. Sorry, Siri. You really should stop listening.
So my score for Never Been Kissed is a 2. 2s all across.
It was accidental that the best friend told the nurse so she could stay in the hospital with him. Come on. I have seen it, but it was long ago. I don't make it a habit of watching trash very often. When I do, I label it as trash, and I tell everybody I love this movie, but it's trash, much like McCall's Navy. Which, once again, I think everybody, we've all chosen movies we understand the others were probably going to have a hard time with, and I think we all did.
Yeah, my understanding was we were choosing movies to spite each other.
Yeah, it started off with
somebody to watch something.
It started off, I think, where I would threaten to make you guys watch McCall's Navy, and then Lewis was like, "Yeah, well, fuck you, Congo, if we're doing that."
Yeah.
And then it just kind of spitballed into where we are now. 5 movies that were
so for next year. For next year, there's going to be new threats. So start thinking.
Yeah, we're done with these. This is a whole new year of keep it up. We're watching this movie. It's like getting the kids in the back seat together. Maybe come back there. We're gonna watch McCall's Navy.
I don't think it has anything to do with not liking romantic movies, Slav.
Incorrect.
I think it's Slavy.
Yeah, no,
Incorrect.
I like romantic movies.
It's
Slav,
the manner
my
of how
favorite.
things...
I'll tell Slav right now. My favorite romantic movie is A Walk to Remember.
Mine is
It's-
Titanic.
That one is so fucking depressing, though.
It is.
Like it literally
It is,
ends
but
with
I love
Shane
it.
West, who's just like, she
No,
was a great person.
so-
Because he's writing in his
He doesn't
journal.
he dies. I know. Yeah.
To me, I think as an adult, I find joy in watching these 80s, 90s romantic movies and picking apart all the HR nightmares in them.
Well, see, I love romantic comedies that are funny. Guess Who with Bernie Mac?
That's a good one. Oh, Bernie Mac.
America's Sweetheart with Catherine Zeta-Jones, John Cusack, Billy Crystal. Like, I like good romantic comedies, but they have to be funny. The problem with your average romance movie is it's highly cliched and it's shit writing.
They're trying to hallmark all of them.
I only need to watch 5 minutes of your average romantic comedy, and you can ask Jen about this. I do it all the fucking time. Within 5 minutes, I can tell you the entire storyline of the movie. Even if I've never seen it, I can tell you what's going to happen and how it's going to end. That's how formulaic those movies are, and that's the problem I have with it. That's why if you have a good romantic comedy that's legitimately funny or is a legitimately good drama, that's a
like
different
Fool's
story.
Rush In.
My favorite,
Fool's Rush In is a
my
great-
favorite
That dude
romantic
from
comedy.
Friends?
Yeah.
My favorite romantic comedy is Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh,
That's
it's such a good
It's
one.
not really a romantic.
But it is a romantic
I
comedy.
love that movie, but it's so
It's so-
fucking racist.
It is.
really
It's
is,
so
yeah.
racist. It's great.
He basically just plays your average trucker in the 80s, like
Yeah.
with less actual slurs being hurled. And no, there's romantic comedies I like. I'm pretty open. Like, I'll watch most things Jen will ask me or present to me to watch. But I
Wait,
do have
by
my
that
limits.
logic, that means The Mask is a romantic.
I don't know
comedy.
if Slavi says that
Kind
we are
of.
uncultured or
Yeah.
just one person.
I mean,
Leprechaun,
I think-
Leprechaun 2 is a romantic.
But a
That's
Walk to
technically
Remember?
true. Leprechaun 2 is a romantic comedy.
I think if you're gonna call us uncultured, you can't be saying a movie about a pedophile is one of your favorite. I'm just saying.
But Slavi did laugh at A Walk to Remember, so I don't know if that was a good laugh or a bad laugh. I don't know.
I mean, I am
more
that
context
guy
there.
that says that The Notebook is not sad and women are stupid for saying it is.
Fuck that movie. I hate The Notebook.
This is why The Notebook is not a sad movie. Throughout the whole
People get
movie,
old.
she's got dementia. Her husband reads her a story, her own diaries essentially, about their relationship to remind her they die together in each other's arms.
They live their life. That movie's not sad. They live their. It's a happy ending.
You have children. It's a happy life.
Yeah.
A sad movie would be it ends where you never recouple and you die an old broad in hospice. That's a sad movie.
Dreaming about
Notebook-
the person that you could have been with.
Yeah, it's where it's Titanic, where she's thinking about what she could have had and never did because Jack froze because she was too much of a bitch to let him sit on the fucking table.
Because
that table was big enough. That table.
it was
big
a
enough.
door, wasn't it? Not a table.
Yeah,
I don't know.
might
It
have
was
been a
big
door.
enough though.
It
was
was
a
a big
door.
enough door.
Yeah, it was definitely a big
It was
enough
made out of
door.
solid oak. It would have floated. It would've
Definitely
floated.
was big enough. Like they would have been a little chilly because the water, but he wouldn't have gone stiff like he did.
The real villain in that movie is the old lady because she fucking throws the necklace off
Dude,
the
the look
boat.
on
At
Bill
the end,
Paxton's
yeah.
face when she does is like, if you weren't an old woman, I'd deck you. Like that sort of type look.
Dude, well, because if you run the numbers, they spent millions of dollars trying to get
Yep.
that necklace.
Like they don't give a fuck about her. Like it was all about the necklace.
You know,
All right.
the year that he passed away, I went to the IMAX over at the
City North.
this, no,
No, City North, the Regal.
at the museum, and they ran the fucking tornado, the tornado in IMAX. It was
Oh,
called Twister.
Oh,
And
that's
fucking Bill
awesome.
Paxton was the fucking narrator.
There's a sequel to
And-
that coming
And
out.
I'm sitting there with my wife and my kid, Lindsay. It was just her at the time. Rose wasn't born yet. And I'm watching this, and then Lindsay, my wife looks over. She goes, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "That's Bill Paxton's voice." I was like, "He's dead," and I've got tears coming down my eyes watching Twister, and I'm like, "Oh."
That's a great fucking movie,
Twister's
man.
a badass. There's a
No,
sequel
it wasn't the
coming.
movie
They're
Twister.
Actually,
It was
it's in
the
pre-production.
It was a documentary about
Oh,
the
shit.
Twister.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
the old
but
IMAX films
was-
were
he
those
Yeah.
are.
was in
I
the
remember
movie.
going to Great America and watching the IMAX film, the F1 or the racing one. That I
Yeah.
used to love as a kid.
I used to love Great America doing those fucking IMAX things.
That was one of the coolest things about
because
Great
it was
America.
something you could do while you wanted to
Well,
relax.
also IMAX wasn't a thing. Like it was, but it like nowadays, if you're not seeing the IMAX, you're not seeing the actual movie. But
Yeah.
back then, it was like IMAX was relegated to like no, these 10-minute documentary films were filmed for museums and shit. So we put an IMAX screen in there, and it's huge. And now it's mainstream. Back then, it wasn't. It was you had to be in a museum or a theme park that had one. They were specialized, and they weren't for mass consumption. They were for 10, 15-minute long documentaries on things they thought would accent, the IMAX image. Have we all given our numbers on this one?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's next, Congo or McHale's Navy?
McHale's Navy has to be last.
All right,
Yeah.
so Lewis,
Congo.
Congo is
Congo,
your boy.
That's yours.
Why did I choose this movie? This is I
Amy,
feel like
Amy.
it was kind of a similar to Gleaming the Cube in that this movie was on all the time when I was younger, and it was one of those movies where like when it was on, I just felt compelled to watch it. And watching as an adult now, it's because this movie is a Frankenstein of so many movies. The plot makes no sense.
This
I
movie
remember-
does probably have the most actors in any of these movies that I actually like.
Yeah.
You got Tim Curry, you've got Ernie Hudson. Like, there's people that I like. Bruce Campbell makes a cameo at the beginning. Like,
Yeah.
there's actually
With-
actors in this movie that I like. It's just
With
go
also
on, yeah.
the most bad accents.
Yeah,
Well,
and
Ernie Hudson in
it-
his disappearing fucking South
it-
African accent.
it has horror elements in it. It has comedy. I remember this is gonna sound terrible, but when I was younger, the scariest scene in this movie to me, I don't know why, it just freaked me out, was not the monkeys, the creepy monkeys or anything like that. It was when they get to the village and like the African tribe is like doing the seance for the dude.
Dude,
who's,
I
like-
had such a
bring his
hard
soul
time
back,
watching
yeah.
that
Oh,
last night.
okay.
It's so cringe. Like that literally cannot. That was literally like, hey, are you black in Hollywood? Now you're
Yes.
a tribesman. It's so
Yes.
fucking racist.
Yeah,
It's bad.
Yeah, so for some reason this movie stuck with me, and I hadn't watched it in years, and I watched it twice technically. It's just as bad as it's ever been. If this is one of those movies where like you tell someone like, hey, you want to see something weird,
Yeah.
and you show them this movie.
I gotta say,
Um,
there is one scene that made me laugh out loud, and that is at the end when all the silverbacks are attacking, and she goes, "I'm gonna get us out of here," and just starts lasering them in half. Like it's literally a, like
Cuts off the one's hand, like
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah. It's like a minute-long scene of her just be like, "Fuck these gorillas," and it's
And-
just
and then they-
cutting them in
you see-
half.
You
They
see the
cut
one
this-
hand fall off the gorilla.
That's what I'm
like,
saying. And then they cut to a
"Yeah."
scene of one on the floor in two pieces, just like what?
I do love when she opens the door on the plane and starts shooting the flares out. To
Oh
Yeah.
my
hit
dude,
the
I
missiles.
had
But she
I-
is a former
I-
CIA agent.
no,
so I
that's
don't
not
know.
realistic.
I don't know. I
And
don't know.
here's the other thing, right? She's
CIA.
she's aiming and leading it to where the heat seeker's attacking. That's not how it works. You fire it away from the aircraft, and then it heat seeks the heat.
Yeah.
A CIA chick would know that.
I don't know, man.
This
It's
movie-
CIA. It's
This
CIA.
movie's
We don't
also
know.
starts its disturbingness, especially for the African country, when like they get there, the president's bomb explodes, and nonchalantly he's like, "Yeah, this is happening, isn't it great?"
Yeah, he comes
And
up
I'm
to him
like,
like
"What the
Ernie,
fuck?"
Ernie
Like,
Hudson with his half African accent's like, we need to find a new airport, my friend.
It depends.
And he's
on
all
who
just
you
like-
are.
yeah, he's smiling. It's like, ah, da, da. I'm like, what?
Like
the
there's
fuck,
dudes
dude?
in the
Like,
background getting hung by their ankles, and he's just,
Yeah,
we need to
like-
go now, my friend. Hee hee. Like he's just very like way
You
too
got
happy.
money? Let's go.
Well, yeah, and then
Surprisingly enough,
she just pulls
too.
out $50K from her knapsack to give to the
Yeah.
fucking sesame cake lord.
So out of
Why
out
did
of
he
all the
ask for more?
movies, this movie made the most money. Also,
Oh
Really?
wow.
150 million.
Well, it had to
What?
because you got to remember, I'm presuming that this was a Jurassic Park is hot. We need
Oh, yeah,
something in the
okay.
jungle. But the
Rambo.
problem with this movie is they steal from Predator. Like, and it makes no sense how they do it either. Like, throughout the whole movie, the idea is it's a kind of a cat and mouse game between these gorillas and them. And then the end of the movie, you have a scene to which they have automated turrets. Everybody's got, by the way, the guns don't make any sense. They've got Russian, they've got Israeli. It doesn't make any sense. But everybody's got full auto machine guns, and it is full on fucking horde mode for the goddamn gorillas. And it's literally a scene of them just shooting fake gorillas.
yeah, it turns into Doom.
And then she pulls out the laser cannon thing and starts. It's literally like 45 seconds. And you're right. The first ape that gets it is the hand one. And he's just like literally, he's jumping and it's like, what? He's like, oh, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
I was doing voiceovers for the ape, dude. I would love to do
Now
Congo riff tracks because
I-
there's so much with Amy you could do.
did they face paint themselves or was their face like naturally?
No, I think they were the whole because the one line, you know, the one line that justifies it all, where the natives bred them to be evil to protect the diamonds.
Ah.
Dude,
So
the one thing I
always
hate
got
about this
the-
movie, and I hope we never see a scene like this. I'm glad they don't do scenes like this. Is when they show the first gorilla, rather than show him, they do the slow mo, let me blur the screen bullshit. I hate that fucking. I hate that.
Well, then you have the boss, who's just a total piece of shit, sends in Bruce Campbell's crew. The video they get back is the whole fucking group is slaughtered, sends her in.
Yeah, he's like,
He-
you need to go now.
Then Amy accidentally knocks over the camera. He assumes they've also been slaughtered. So fuck it, sends another group in, which then gets shot down from the fucking president's crew.
before they even make it.
And he's like, where's the diamond? He's just like, he's just so fucking evil. Like, she's like, your nephew's dead. And he's just like, yeah, but where's the
No, that was
diamond?
his son.
Or
I
was
do
his
love
son?
that scene.
I thought it was his
That was
nephew.
his
Yeah,
son.
no, it was
He
his
didn't give two
son.
shits about his own fucking blood.
I do love that scene where she's like, "Remember what I told you?"
Yeah, and by the way, why would you toss the diamond? Why wouldn't you go sell it to a competitor, make a shitload of money, and fucking flip him off as you drive by his house every day? Like, how stupid are you to throw that fucking diamond away? Like,
Also, one thing I didn't like about this movie was the scene where like everything gets dark and here it is, just the gleaming light on the one person,
He was gleaming the cube.
and then
gleaming.
here's the other person, and I didn't like that shit, like how they did the whole dark.
Just weird lighting.
This
Yeah, it's
this
just-
movie, for
it's
some
just
reason,
weird.
I've always had associated with Sphere in my mind,
Huh.
and now watching it again after we reviewed Sphere, and now that I'm older, it is nowhere in the same ranking as fucking Sphere.
Did
But
we-
you,
did
it's
we
funny
ever
that
do
you say
Monkey
that
Shines?
though. No,
I think that would be more of a little fear thing than
Wait, what's that?
Monkey Shines.
Monkey Shines.
No, I'm talking. This movie's associated with Sphere for me. I think
I know, but
they
I'm-
must have
I'm
come out
talking
around the
about-
same
I'm talking
time. Or
Maybe
something.
they were,
Yeah.
you had like just seen him playing.
Yeah,
No,
they,
no,
they,
numerous
I
times.
don't know.
It's funny that you say that, Matt, because I get the same vibe.
And they must have
Same
come out
exact
around the
thing.
same time because, like, I feel for whatever reason, Sphere and Congo they're like together. I don't know why. They must have been out around the same time. The movie, and here's the thing: is like the movie itself doesn't. This isn't a low budget movie. It doesn't suffer from lack of acting talent. Like you got Tim Curry's a great character in it, highly underutilized.
Mhm.
Lewis texted me earlier in the week. Bruce Campbell should have been the main lead. He texted me today, and we'll go into it about Bruce Campbell. I think Bruce Campbell should have been the lead in this with the monkey, with Amy.
Oh, that would have been nice. That would have been
Sphere
nice.
was three
I
years later.
agree. Bruce Campbell should have been the lead in this movie, and he should have been the lead in McCall's
Yeah,
Navy,
which
I
we
think.
will go into right after this. Yeah, I agree with, like, I think, and then let's talk about Amy. The only thing in this movie to
Amy.
actually give me any sort of, like, I did have moments of like, aw, and that was like Amy's the only character that made me give a fuck about anybody in this. I didn't give a shit about her trainer dude who wanted to fuck her. I didn't care about the dude from True Lies. I didn't care about
Your dude who
anybody
wanted to
else in
fuck
this
her.
fucking movie. The only one I felt any connection to was Amy. And then even her story is basically like throughout, when they get to the jungle, the other apes look at her like, who this bitch? And she's over here with her Nintendo glove on, talking to him. And they're like, nah, fuck this shit. And they walk away. And then by the end of the movie, she's integrated. Like, it's just, and there's the one scene where they're escaping at the end and Amy is crawling up the stairs. And it's like, that's clearly a dude in a suit. Like, I can see his spinal column. Like, it's a dude in a suit. But Amy, for me, is the only redeeming thing in this fucking movie. The fact that you literally rip off of better movies like Alien and Predator for your explosive, dumbass final act, because that's what it is. It's essentially like, yo, this movie, we got a big budget and we need to justify it. We could do more story, but instead, we're going to shoot everything on set today. And they just, like, and then finally, by the end of the skirmish, he's like, I'm running out of ammo. Now you are? You've literally shot thousands of fucking rounds. You sure?
Yeah, it's the whole ending of this movie ramps up to 11 for I
Oddly,
think
and it's
no
and it's
for
like
no reason.
it's like five, 2 minutes of film, 700. Like, it's just, it goes from like I said, kind of, you're right, kind of a horror drama thriller, and then by the end of the movie, they go full fucking Schwarzenegger and just light the jungle up. And literally, there is at least 5 to 10 minutes of footage solely dedicated to slaughtering these other gorillas.
Yeah.
It's
and
like
I think that's mainly what I remember about this film is how the end is so fucking chaotic.
yeah, it really, and it's like, it's so not the same tone as neither is when they meet the current king.
No, it's like a different movie.
That's a comedy. The whole interaction between him and Tim Curry.
Yeah.
I did like his character though, because he knew everything about everybody, which was an interesting notion that, like, you know, you think of it, Africa, you think of constant war and regime changes, you wouldn't necessarily think that dude has the intel, but he knew who every single one of those fucking people were.
He was just a general. He wasn't anybody looking for power. He was just like a general.
Now, here's a question. Why did he have a stapler next to him and a paper bag?
Where's money?
No
like,
peeking.
to the point where
peeking.
so nobody could peek. By the way, she's also carrying around minimum 50 grand in her fucking knapsack, because that's what she gave him.
She said money. We got no problem. That's what she said at the
I
beginning.
think she was carrying more than
She
that.
had to have been
She had to have
theoretically.
$1
At
million
least
in there
at
somewhere.
least 100
Then-
grand.
then
So
you-
does she
was
always
more.
carry that money around with
Well,
her?
she's
Is it
former
Only
just
because
Exchange?
she was funded.
Well, then you have the great Joe Pantoliano, just
Oh.
completely underutilized in a role. And it's like, you gotta remember, I like Joe
was getting
Pantoliano back.
Memento vibes from that.
Yeah. I mean, his character
The way
was
he-
pretty similar. Yeah,
Yeah.
not too far off in years, I don't think either.
Wait, is he
When
the
was
dude from The Matrix?
Yeah,
Yes.
Bad Boys. He's the chief.
the
If
one that
you've
fucking
ever
drops the
seen it,
phone.
where I first remember seeing Pantoliano was Midnight Run with
Goonies.
Robert De Niro. Was he in Goonies?
He was a Goonies.
I recognize. So my first movie to actually recognize him was Midnight Run. He plays the sleazy bail bondsman in that. He's always like a
Okay.
sleazy, even when he's the fucking police chief in Bad Boys, he's kind of fucking sleazy.
Yeah.
Those are movies I wouldn't mind reviewing. I really like Bad Boys too. I think it's one of the
They're
best
great.
action fucking movies, just for pure dumb action made, in the past 30 years.
Boys.
Bad Boys. All right, are we ready for
Bad
hot
Boys.
dogs on this one?
Let's do this.
I will go first. This is my high score of the day, a 3. This is not a good movie. But if you're
It
looking
could have
for
been,
something,
I feel like, though.
it could have been.
Like, I feel like
But
if they edit it differently to maybe add more action and more thriller type shit throughout, because it really is basically like a plunger, right? You have like this long pole and then the meat of everything in the last 10 minutes. Like it's
But
just
ano-
their entire budget's the last 10 minutes of the fucking movie.
Well, like, what would you have deleted the college scenes
Yes.
to make it a little more
I
relevant?
feel like
Okay.
so I'm pretty sure you guys all
I was
seen
thinking the same thing.
Chernobyl, right?
yeah.
Not all of it.
So
No.
so in the beginning of Chernobyl, you know how it starts at Chernobyl, they bring everybody in and kind of explain it. You're coming from here, he's so and so and so and so. I think they should have started it that way. Like
Yeah.
start it in the Congo, you know, and
Well,
have her like, I need to
Yeah.
get on your expedition because I know, you know, oh, I'm bringing the gorilla to Congo.
Well,
We don't need you. Like,
even if you keep the Bruce Campbell shit, right? You film it slightly differently, where he doesn't talk about the goofy laser, and it's him. You know, you get rid of the whole thing of where his buddy disappears. You have him communicating with them on camera, the volcano kind of getting disruptive, and then he gets wiped out. But you film it in like a horror movie perspective. Like the idea being like he was just hunted and slaughtered by something big. And then you kind of set a tone. The problem is there's so much cheese in it that, like, I don't know if they can ever get an actual tone in this movie. You know what I mean? Like, between them stealing so many different movies, ideas, and vibes, there is no constant at all.
Well, another issue for me is like if you've never seen this movie, you go and Bruce Campbell's there, you're like, this is the lead. It's his story. He dies. After that, there's no real lead person in this movie kind of wrangling it together. Like, is the chick the lead? No, not really.
Well,
Is the dude? No, not
but
really.
as the movie goes on,
Is this-
they Laura Croft her more and more.
they do, but also the tone, like she's so serious, and then the guy that she hires is just goofy about the whole situation. Like, yeah, you know, people are dying. We're going into the jungle. Like,
Also, presumably,
jungle,
presumably she assumes Bruce Campbell's dead this entire time, right? Her fiance. Yet she's still giving
one-time fiance.
She's still giving googly eyes to the fucking ape fucker. I'm sorry, that he had a weird fucking relationship,
right?
Well, the whole
their relationship was over. She said, "I was going to marry him."
the whole fucking look he gives Amy as she's leaving is like, "Oh, you're leaving me." It's like, bro, get a girlfriend, fucking make some kids, because you are fucked in the head right now.
That was also one of the discussions. Like, the reason why you taught a gorilla sign language is because you were lonely. She tells him that.
Oh, on the plane, yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Lonely.
Good achievement in science. You're still a fucking weirdo. Like your whole life is based upon this gorilla, and what does he have to do? He cared more when she walked away from him than when his friend died. His friend dies in front of him with a bulgy fucking eye sticking out, and he's like, "Oh, that sucks." But when she walks away from him and goes and joins the gorillas, he's got, "Oh, she's home." It's like, are you your buddy is dead, but because you're ultimately sad because she's leaving. Okay.
He held up the buddy's eye. So
did you ever watch the Nip Tuck series on FX?
Yeah, that's the only other thing I know him from.
Yeah, that's where he's from. Yeah.
Jen thought she recognized him, but she did not. All right, so Lewis, you gave this a 3?
3 out
Giovanni?
of 5.
3 out of 5.
This is a 3 as
3
well.
blood diamonds out of 5.
Yeah, right. The Blood Diamond.
I like this movie. It is a bad movie, but it's way better than Super Mario Brothers. So I feel it justifies.
It's better than the
score.
first 3, I think. To
Yes,
be honest
yeah,
with
that's true.
you. But I guess it depends on who you appeal to. If you're a righteous skater, dude, you might like to clean some cube. You know what I mean?
I'll go next. This is a
It's so
this is
great.
a 2.5 for me. It was fun. It was just weird on different things. Like the whole David Walsh, whatever his name is, Walsh, the guy who plays Amy's fucking handler. His relationship with the gorilla was just a little weird.
They wanted to fuck him.
Oh, he definitely fucked that monkey.
The CIA agent,
With the
the former CIA agent, trying to act like she doesn't know shit.
We'll call her
and
Laura
stuff like that.
Croft.
And then all the bad accents and yeah. But it was actually, so far out of the 3 that we've watched, it was more entertaining than all of them. So 2.5 for me.
I'm gonna give it a 2. I think this movie should be used as an example of how to not do a 90s action movie. Basically, this movie is the equivalency of a stand-up comedian stealing better stand-up comedians' jokes and then delivering them piss poorly.
This is the Carlos Mencia.
Yep. Congo is the Carlos Mencia of movies because the director saw better movies in theaters and was like, I'm going to make a movie like this one day. And instead of making his own movie or her own movie, whoever it was, one day, he literally was like, well, I like that scene in Predator. And wouldn't it be great if we got attacked by 40 random fucking gorillas that were never seen before until the end of the movie? That'd be kind of cool, right? We could just shoot at them and laser gun and shit. Like, he literally had a movie written and then woke up from a Coke binge still with it on his face. And he just wide-eyed was like, I got the ending. And he wrote it down. And through his Coke field, like the screenwriter had to read this and go, where do the turret guns come from?
The director was actually a producer for Jurassic World.
Yeah, Jurassic World.
Oh, that makes sense. 'Cause this World is a shitty movie, so.
Well, no, is that Jurassic World? That's the
the newest one, I believe.
Yeah,
I
guess who's in
haven't
it?
even
Chris
seen the last
fucking
one.
Pratt.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind the first two of the new series. I thought the third one was just okay. So to wrap it all up, I
haven't seen it.
It's not bad. It's on Peacock, and you do get Malcolm, and everybody's back and everything. It's a little long, and I got to agree. I don't know the whole. I don't dislike Chris Pratt. I just I think he needs to find out what he wants. Like, go typecast yourself further. Like, you're already fucking typecast. Go typecast yourself as the action movie guy. You know what I mean? Like, the problem with Chris Pratt is he has been everywhere, but then he stopped being everywhere. Like, he had a run in like 2015 or whatever where he was huge, and then what has he done what has he done the past few years? He did the military TV show on Prime, Guardians, and he had that Future War in the Jurassic World series.
Future War was good.
I thought that was a really good dumb sci-fi action movie. But like, that's the thing is, like, if you put Chris Pratt in the character of, I mean, I think he works well in like I hate to typecast it like this, but a single father who was in the military at one point or still is. Like, if you put Chris Pratt in a remake of Commando, I would find that to be fitting. You know what I mean? Like,
or like a revenge story. Like
if
he's
gets
like
to wear a mouse rat shirt.
Like a stay-at-home dad who somebody fucks with his kid or something, and
see that's I think that's what we
wild.
haven't seen with Chris Pratt. Is the problem is we haven't seen him in a dark role.
Yeah.
When you really think about that nobody's given him the chance to be either a bad guy or be in just a really dark fucking movie. Like, put him in a dark fucking horror movie that you wouldn't expect him in. Because look at the guy that's in all the oh fuck, he's from The Watchmen. He's Ed and Lorraine stories. Patrick
Wilson.
Yeah, look at Patrick Wilson. Nobody in their right fucking mind ever connected Patrick Wilson to horror movies before he was in those Conjuring type movies. Yeah, now that he is, that's what he's been doing is those style movies.
Now he's a fucking horror icon.
Yeah, so like,
can you imagine him in like a domestic situation where he's the bad guy in a domestic situation?
Well, even if you give Pratt, like, has anybody ever seen that movie, The Brothers or Two Brothers, about the one brother who was a prisoner of war? It's got Jake Gyllenhaal, and if you put Chris Pratt in one of those fucking roles, you would like him in that because he's a decent enough actor.
That was Tobey Maguire.
If you gave because that movie made me understand Tobey Maguire was a decent actor. His performance when he finally loses his shit is powerful acting. So I think if you were to give Chris Pratt that same opportunity, you would like the outcome. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like he's been just locked in to either cheesy, campy, or light action roles and hasn't been given a chance to be a real actor. And how can you be when you're sucking Marvel's dick for fucking a decade? Like, when you sign on for a Marvel character, you are Star-Lord until they say they're done with you. And I guarantee you that's why he's done. He wants out. He's tired of the Marvel regime. He's tired of doing one fucking character for a decade. But that doesn't mean we're going to get to see him in anything substantial other than the same Chris Pratt melodrama action you've seen so far.
Just so you know, real quick, Congo director Frank Marshall is also 8 Below director with Paul Walker.
That makes sense. Both garbage. What did you give it, Giovanni?
It was a 3 as well.
Congo. I'm gonna go 2 on Congo simply because I kind of take offense to the fact that it just ripped off movies that I actually do legitimately love. Jurassic Park, Predator, Alien. And it did, I do enjoy parts of it. I think it was definitely easier to watch than Super Mario Brothers. But it's just such a fucking mess of a movie. It gets hard. It becomes a slog at points too until they start lighting up gorillas. All right, next one, final one. Everybody gave score, right?
Yeah.
All right. Final one
did you give
is
Jen's?
a Tom Arnold joint, McCall's Navy. I've got some.
Jen score.
Oh yeah. What did Jen give it? Yeah, she gave it a 4 because she really liked Amy. She really liked the whole Amy good girl because
Oh, I was about to say.
The animal
Jen,
factor.
Jen is a dog animal lover, so when she looks at that creepy looking gorilla suit, Amy, and all of its emotions that the
I
character
feel bad
exhibits,
for the guy who played Amy.
so she liked it because Amy was cute and was lovable, and because once again every other character in this movie is so
Tickle me.
fucking
Tickle me.
vapid, you have to lock onto a fake ape or a fake gorilla in the movie. Because every other character is so unbelievable. The only character that you actually have an emotional goddamn connection with is a fake gorilla.
Tickle me.
He's like, I'll tickle you too in the
God.
pink, eh? Fucking weirdo. He's another pedo.
A shocker.
Final movie.
God damn.
McCall's Navy. My choice. I recognize this isn't a good movie. I've said this for years. It's not a good movie. My nostalgia factor, I'll go straight up. My nostalgia comes from, I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother had a lady who had a dual VCR, and this bitch was just a fucking bootlegging. You would go into her house, and she would have her walls lined with VHS tapes that she had just recorded over, labeled. So for Christmas one year, she gave us a stack of like 15 fucking VHS movies, and McCall's Navy was one of them. And I just frankly enjoyed it. Since I watched it, for me, it's one of those movies that, because nostalgia, I could watch it over and over. But even without nostalgia, it's a feel-good movie. And yeah, I think that's the big thing is when I watch this movie, it's light. I'm always steeped in my own mental darkness. The world kind of sucks. It's one of those things where when I watch this movie, it's an hour and a half of fucking stupid that's going to make me feel good. But yeah, it's essentially Tom Arnold's a fat piece of shit, retired Navyman, and he's got all these. He's got basically a con man racket on this naval base, and new leadership comes into town, and they fuck his plan up. This one's also got Tim Curry and Bruce Campbell in it. Tim Curry doing another accent, this time Russian. He is the bad guy trying to take over the island to start a missile.
Both
base.
accents he did was fucking bad.
I want to say, because I've given Matt the most shit about not wanting to watch this movie, I did enjoy it, but I think the worst part of this movie for me was Tom Arnold.
Same.
And this is where we were talking.
Also, had a bit of Dean Stockwell.
Had Bruce Campbell been McHale,
he could have nailed it.
It would have been so. He is McHale the way they want it. The way Tom Arnold tries to portray him. That was Bruce Campbell's character. That fast-talking sort of,
He's not a leading comedy movie man.
He is a dumpster of a human.
And since you mentioned Bruce Campbell being the lead, it changes the perspective entirely on this movie.
But there's also there's the supporting cast. I mean, you have French Stewart. You have I think his name was Jimmy Cho, the Asian comedian with the Asian guy with the Southern accent. He was. I can't remember his name, but he was actually Henry Cho. He was a stand-up comedian that had bits in his act about having that's his real voice. Yeah, that Southern draw. That's actually his voice.
Yeah, and that's what still made me like the movie is the supporting cast are all great.
David Allen Greer. The whole scene when they go to Cuba. Tell me that isn't a good scene.
You know what, Matt? I remember what I told you before. Before we recorded, I was talking to Matt about this movie, and I said, I think their chemistry together doesn't work, but maybe it's the lead role. There was too much chemistry between them. Maybe it's the lead role.
Because when you do the Cuba scene, and it's Tom Arnold's doing his own thing, and everybody else is having the bar fight, and this guy's getting choked, so the big guy punches him. French Stewart gets thrown over the balcony, like. It's a different dynamic with the supporting crew without
that scene
him.
Is my favorite in this whole movie.
Mine too. I really like that scene.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to French Stewart?
I mean, he squinted his way to hell. I don't know.
Yeah. He plays the same character in every fucking thing he does anyway.
He was the greatest in Third Rock from the Sun.
Wait,
Yeah, I
he's
did
not
like
That's where
dead,
he got
is he?
I
started.
did
That's
like
where
him
he
in
got
Third Rock
started.
from the Sun as well.
He's alive, right?
Yeah, he's not. This isn't a Gene Wilder situation.
Still alive.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Him and Crispin Glover are still alive. I will admit the movie's goofy as fuck. It is a dumb comedy. Each character is essentially a different stereotype. But I don't know, man. I just like I didn't get a chance to watch this movie. I didn't get time, but I've seen it so many times. I have no issues reviewing it. I love this movie.
Now, did Police Academy come before or after this?
Oh
'Cause
yeah,
this gave me Police
Academy
Academy.
was
vibes.
Police
in the
Academy
80s.
was like 84.
Okay, I was about
Yeah.
to say, yeah.
Very much so. Well, there was another movie that came out around the same time of this that I used to get confused with it, which was Down Periscope.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I remember that
Yeah,
one.
the Kelsey Grammer movie.
Where Kelsey
Um,
Grammer has a tattoo on his penis of
You know, well, then you get scenes like there's also certain scenes in here that are surprising. Like you wouldn't expect the scene where he takes the speedboat and shoots up McHale's Island to happen. You know, where there's an actual legitimate action scene with Fat Boy Tom Arnold fucking running. But then again, even those scenes have stupid
Or-
fucking humor where it's the remote instead of his gun. You know, any chance that this movie does get to establish Tom Arnold's McHale as an official former military guy, it's unbelievable. Like nobody in their right mind would watch this and go, yeah, no, he's former military.
the scene that kind of
No.
humanizes him in a way, like to me, like makes me like, okay, Tom Arnold's playing this role. Was when he was like he was saying, "Your dad was my partner.
Yeah.
He was the guy that I was watching.
And Vladikov
and
is the one who killed him.
Yeah, and he
Russian
But
Tim
also-
Curry.
sacrificed himself to keep me alive. So
Also, the
that's
way
why he
they
takes care of him.
introduce his character, like if this movie was playing and you walked in after the title, McCall's Navy was shown, and they started the movie playing, as soon as you saw McCall, you would have thought he was a support character because it's very much like his energy, the way he acts in the movie. It doesn't scream lead role. And then as the movie goes on, you realize, oh shit, he's the
Well, yeah,
lead.
Tom Arnold's never been, in my opinion, a lead actor. There's a
I
little
agree.
movie. There's a little movie called The Stupids,
The
and this one
Stupids,
that proves
his
he's
own
not a lead.
grandpa.
Tom
Mhm.
Arnold.
The stupid.
I'm gonna say his best roles, as bad as it's gonna sound, were
True
Exit
Lies.
Wounds, True Lies,
True Lies, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
and I believe he was in another one called Cradle to the Grave with Jet Li, which is very much along the same lines as Exit Wounds, where he basically played the sidekick,
yeah.
wise talking white dude that gets into trouble. I think those were his best roles. The problem is when you try to do, anytime he tried to enter the leading star realm, he's fucking garbage. Like he's good as the sidekick with comedic remarks. He cannot
Yeah,
carry a
'cause
movie.
Now that you say about it, like in this movie, he's kind of more like soft spoken and endearing, or going for that.
Yeah.
And in all those other movies, he's like a fast talking like jackass, and he's
Yeah.
good
Mhm.
at that.
That's
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of his bread and butter. There's another movie, a newer movie called Hit and Run, with Dax Shepard and his wife, Kirsten Bell, and the whole thing is Dax Shepard's a former convict, and Kirsten Bell gets a job in another part of California, and he can't leave the area, but he says, "Fuck it, I'm going to get you to this interview. This is your dream job." And Tom Arnold plays basically his witness protection officer, and he's great in it. He's a wreck of a human. He misfires his gun. He gets onto these mishaps, but it's the perfect character for him because the movie doesn't rely upon him, and they can enter him in when they want comedic value, because that's really all he's good for in anything.
Did
It
any of you ever
makes-
see Carpool with him in it?
No.
Mhm.
Where he's
Mm.
got to take the kids to school or whatever, and,
Maybe
they're all fucking,
maybe long ago.
yeah.
It makes you wonder if he chose this project because it was like, oh, like I'm
Yeah.
typecast for all these roles. I want to try,
Well,
this thing.
I think for him it was probably like, oh shit, you want me to be the leading man, and like my paycheck's good.
Was he
I get to work
divorced
with
from
I get
what's
to
her
work
name
with
yet?
Tim Curry.
Was
Like
he
Mhm.
divorced from Roseanne yet?
probably, I think that happened in the early '90s. I think Roseanne was still on the air when they divorced. But yeah, now I think this movie. I can name like this. The scenes, the whole scene when, the new commander comes in, and he sees where French Stewart sleeps,
Yeah.
and he goes, note anything in the trees after dark will be shot.
Will be
Like
shot.
that. Like I hated his character as a kid though. That the nasally fucking commander asshole. That's why. But then there's weird scenes in it when like Tim Curry decides to the whole village is having a festival, and like they want me because I'm taking over their village. We move the village, and then he comes in like Bison and just takes over everything. And then he's got some weird scenes in here though, like the whole thing of like grab my hand. Like just the way he does his voice is just a little weird.
His accent drops in and out too.
He shoots behind him. Did I hit him?
I will say, Tim Curry's scenes are the legitimate most funny scenes in this.
Yeah, they're
like
hilarious.
the whole scene where he lowers his robe and it's a tattoo of Mikhail. Like the scenes that involve Tim Curry and his therapist. He's like, he shot me.
At
the
thought
end.
that was Gabe for a second, but I was like, wait a minute, this is 25 years later.
They're way too young.
I thought that was Gabe from fucking The Office.
Like Tim Curry, I think owns a lot of the humor. My favorite scene is the Cuba scene with the bar fight and everything. Yeah. David Alan Greer's jump off the boat at the end to go save the kid when he's just like, ah! And he does like a flip forward for some reason. Like,
I didn't like David Alan Greer in this at all, though. I don't know. I don't like it when he plays that kind of character.
Go ahead and pop me.
I don't like
David Alan Greer was good in one movie and one movie only, and that was Blank Man.
Jumanji.
Oh God, Blank Man. How did that not make the fucking list? I will say
him and fucking.
I know you guys love Blank Man. I am a Meteor Man guy.
I love
Meteor Man
too.
Meteor Man is amazing.
I love Meteor Man because I love.
Why have we not reviewed?
Can you imagine
we need to.
Fucking
Blank Man. Okay.
You gain all the knowledge.
All right, so we've got Tarantino for 3 months, and the only reason that is because Giovanni will be going down to two episodes a month. Lewis is at 2 episodes a month. Alex and I are looking to do 1 or 2 a month, depending, just us. But we're doing Tarantino, and he's got like 10 movies, plus we have like 1 or 2 in there extra that are stuff he wrote, shit like that. After Tarantino, I think we just need to start doing our dream pairings, whether it's a comedy, doesn't matter, like Almost Famous Rockstar, Blank Man, Meteor Man. Like, these movies that we love, and yeah, they may not be giant conversations, but like, I would rather watch movies we love at this point, where we can talk about them, bullshit about other stuff, and go from there. You know what I mean? Like, we were texting earlier, and I got to thinking, because in my head I was like, well, Marvel, we've never done a comic book movie, but maybe for a little while we just need to start making pairings of shit we really dig, and call it a day on that one.
Dude,
so that way
I'd
we're not slogging through the fucking, because if this week has taught me anything, I don't want to slog through another fucking review week for a while.
I'd love to give the Marvel deep discussion, like deep dive into Blank Man and Meteor Man.
Well, Meteor Man is a heavier movie than Blank Man.
Meteor Man
has some serious undertones.
Inner city gangs and violence. Yeah. You got to remember the main guy, Robert something or other. I can't remember his name. Robert Townsend started. I mean, he was a pioneer in black movies and black comedy.
Yeah.
In that time coming up, so for him to be in that movie,
his own feature,
even though it was goofy, him being in it had significance. It was a movie for the black youth, and I think the difference between Blank Man and Meteor Man is Blank Man is a movie for people who want a goofy comedy with black actors.
Yeah,
was the bigger difference. But I mean, another great one is I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
I love.
Oh yeah, that's a good
one. It was amazing. You want the
Don't
window?
Make me come happen after you.
Window or the stairs? So like, yeah, I think
when he throws himself out.
I think after Tarantino, we're gonna what I'm gonna consider take a break, and we're just gonna be doing movies that we like.
Short Circuit 1 and 2. Love them
dude,
both.
I failed as a husband. Jen informed me somehow that I've never made her watch Short Circuit.
What?
Which
you've talked about it so much.
I don't know how that's possible.
When's the last time
or did she fall asleep?
I watched it probably in its entirety, probably about a year ago.
I watched it actually about a month ago.
I think it was on some streaming network, and I caught it, and it was like 1 a.m, and I was like, I love this movie. Why not?
Johnny Five, he's alive.
He's alive.
All right, so
whatever God wants, he keeps.
McCall's Navy. My nostalgia score, in all honesty, pure nostalgia, because this is a movie that I can go in the living room right now and throw on, is a 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna realistic score. I'm gonna give it a 3, because there are, in my opinion, far inferior stupid comedies to this one. Despite Tom Arnold sucking dick, this movie, in my opinion, is still funnier than half of the shit 90s comedies that came out. Just in its pure goofiness. But realistically, I can't give it any higher than... I want to say 3, but I don't know if that's just nostalgia or if it really belongs in the 2.5 category. Truth is, I didn't dislike it. I love this movie, even without nostalgia, way more than the first fucking 3 we reviewed. Congo's, I hadn't seen it in a while, it's give or take, but I'll stick with a 3, and I'll just take the beating on.
Yeah, no, I honestly wanted to go in hating this movie because I just didn't want to watch it for so long. But I agree, it's a 3. It's a solid. Like Matt said, even with not caring for Tom Arnold, it's a solid comedy, and a solid comedy for its time too.
Yeah, considering Never Been Kissed was made a few years after this movie, it trumps it in pure entertainment value. Like this, I feel at least McCall's Navy is a way more fun movie than Never Been Kissed by far. You walk away feeling better from McCall's Navy than Never Been Kissed. And I'm only using Never Been Kissed because it's a comedy released within the same few year time frame.
There's no hebophiles in this one either.
Thank God.
Is that what they're called? Hebophiles?
I don't know if
hebophiles.
French Stewart
Hebophiles.
fucks that little monkey though, so I don't.
Who
I'll go
raised
next.
you, monkey?
Tom Arnold had a pig.
As somebody who's seen this movie for the first time, I've never seen this movie. Yeah, the lead role I thought was the weakest part of this movie, but to Matt's point, the supporting cast was phenomenal. Like they did a great job. And yeah, it does have strong points of comedy. It's a funny movie. It's a dumb action movie. You put it on, you enjoy it. It is what it is. But this is a 3 for me as well. I actually enjoyed this movie.
It's just one of those movies that whether you want to sit down and watch it or whether you want it as background noise. Like for me as a kid, it was that movie that like Gleaming the Cube for Alex. If it came on, I watched it. Despite having the VHS, if it was on TV, I would sit down and watch it. It was just one of those like even to this day, it's a feel good movie for me.
So out of all the movies we all own, have you bought the movies that you recommended?
I don't own.
I own it.
Any
I
of
own Super
these,
Mario.
no.
I own.
No, I'm talking
I
about the one that you recommended. Do you own it,
well, yeah.
Do you own Congo?
Lewis? No.
No, I
No,
streamed that
don't.
one.
Okay. So I don't own the movie I recommended either. But it is one of those.
Can you
guilty
even
pleasures.
get a physical copy of that fucking thing anymore?
I'm sure it'll be on DVD only.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a 4K transfer of Gleaming the Cube.
You know what? It is one of those movies that you would see get transferred from Criterion, like out of nowhere. It's like, by the way, the Criterion collection of Gleaming the Cube is out. It's like, what the fuck?
It probably looked like shit though.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
depends on how good they took care of the negatives. Because you got to remember, if the negatives and the actual film stock's taken care of, you can go up to whatever resolution you want.
I'm sure they put it down and it never got fucking touched for those years.
I will say
so it's probably still sitting there.
the transfer
unless a fire happened.
transfer didn't look that much worse than when Ghostbusters came out on 4K. That thing looked fucking dismal. I mean, it was just nothing but noise.
But watching it on regular TV, it looked like shit. But watching it on Prime, it looked fucking good.
It didn't. I mean, it didn't look bad. It's just the problem with Gleaming the Cube was how it's shot. It's just
Yeah.
the skate
There
scenes are
were so many
cringe.
scenes that were stupid, like the whole fucking like zooming in and
Well,
out.
then
It was
I mean,
people trying to be fucking.
But they don't develop the characters at all. Like there's the one scene when they go to the kid's house and the mother's like either come in or get out of my whatever.
Get out, yeah.
Like that
out of my
shows
flower
that
bed.
mother knows that kid. It's her son's friend. Why not develop that relationship and give the little punk ass Christian Slater more credibility and give his friends more than just a hey everybody in my Pizza Hut truck. Like
I mean, I know it's the name of the title, but if they cut out all those skateboard filler scenes, they could have developed the characters more.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
but the problem with the skateboard scenes is it's literally like they tried to film it like a skate video that was around at that time, but instead it just looked fucking stupid and cheesy and clearly not Christian Slater. And I'm sorry, but like I don't remember skateboarders when nobody's around them doing jazz hands when they're doing fucking jumps and shit. Like every time he went off like a jump and he's it's just like this isn't Skate or Die. Like what the fuck is going on here?
Or when he was going into the truck, that's still my fucking.
Do we get
That made him more aerodynamic.
I didn't say anything for your.
Yeah, I was gonna say we gotta get your numbers on it.
For me, it is a 2.5. I did like McHale's Navy, but it was all the actors that are in this fucking movie are the actors they've always been in every fucking other movie, and that's the only reason why. But I did enjoy it. It was a full story. It's just one of those things that I don't know. It's just a 2.5 for me. And Tom Arnold is good as a supporting actor, not as a main.
He's good as a supporting in some roles. Like I
don't-
wouldn't put him in a
think
fucking
Tom
drama.
Arnold likes Tom Arnold.
I've seen Tom Arnold in TV shows that are still going on to this day, which is NCIS, and he plays this computer hacker guy, and he's a piece of shit in there. Like he sucks at the acting.
But he's a piece of shit
He-
in real
But
life.
he's still
does
no,
suck
no.
at the
He
acting.
kind
I
of
don't,
looks
I
like
don't
a
mean he's a
piece
piece of shit
in
as
real
a,
life.
as a person. They keep bringing.
No, he
him-
is
he's a
as a
piece of shit
person.
actor.
He's a piece of shit as a person.
He's a piece
too.
of shit actor that they keep bringing back for some reason. But I like the show that I'm watching.
You got to remember, he had a little bit of a resurgence because he was vocal in the anti-Trump era.
yeah, but
And
yeah,
any celebrity
it
that was vocal against Trump in the anti-Trump era,
they got a bump.
they rise from your grave and they put him in shit.
For
Yeah.
some reason, I would have
fuck
pictured him
it.
as a Republican.
No, he is a hardcore lefty. But I think that's also just
Well,
I don't
that's
know.
why he
He's a
divorced
goofy.
Roseanne.
he's a
been
goof.
he's been married 4 times. The man just doesn't stop.
He likes to fuck. I mean, I don't know. He's a serial monogamizer. Call him monogamous.
What did Jen give this one?
Jen, let's see. Now she had watched this with me prior. We obviously we've watched this one before. I think she likes this one. 4.5 for Jen. This is a movie that, like, when I first showed it to Jen, I assumed it was gonna be like, nah, this is goofy as shit, bro. But she enjoyed it. It's like I said, it's one of those movies that, like, it's dumb, but it's dumb enough to
Yeah.
appeal to a mass audience. Like, it's one of those things where if you put it on TV, you're not gonna, even if you don't love it, you're probably not gonna hate it.
I gave it a 2.5, but I'm pretty sure if I saw it again, I'd watch it again.
Yeah,
It's not
I
some-
love it.
It's not something I would change. You know what I mean? So
Because if you think, I mean, I don't know how it is for Jen, but if you think about it, all the movies we picked are movies that, like, back in the day, if you saw it, even if it was like halfway through, you're like, I'm gonna watch the rest of this.
I
Like,
will say
Yeah, exactly.
some
I
of
do
the
that. I do
goofiness
that.
also may be due to the fact that it is based off of an old TV show.
Mhm.
yeah.
So there is that kind of underlining issue of, like, that's why, like, at the end
From
he's
the
like, thanks.
60s.
He's like, thanks, Dad, because that was McHale, his father in this, the commander,
He
is the
he was
original McHale in the
yeah.
McHale's Navy TV show. So, like,
He's Cobra. Yeah.
yeah. So I don't, I'm not going to make excuses, but I'm going to presume part of it was like, we need to keep the spirit of the old show. And if you do that, you by proxy or including extra goofiness into your product. Because there was like old, all except for MASH, which had oddly serious tones in certain
Oh
episodes.
yeah.
It was like it was like
It
if
got dark. And
it really
Mash was
did
very
Yeah.
when they
dark.
started killing people, and yeah.
God.
Well,
There was one episode where he was having a look at his hands and he couldn't figure out if he took the gloves off or not, and he had blood on his hands and he couldn't figure out.
so
When I saw that, I was like, "Holy shit, this is."
Jen just wrote Sergeant Bilko is better than McHale's Navy, and I kind of hate her for that comment.
Is that the one with
Steve Martin. I really like Sergeant Bilko.
I would have to agree.
It's
But
a good fucking movie, but I hate her for bringing it up.
a way to ruin this episode, Jen.
Because I think
watched
Sergeant
Sergeant
Bilko
Bilko.
is a much more mainstream traditional funny comedy. I mean, it's Steve Martin as opposed to fucking Tom Arnold. Come on.
When you said Sergeant Bilko, I was thinking Major Payne. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Major Payne, Sergeant Bilko and Major Payne is a hell of a fucking combo. Or you can intertwine In the Army Now with Pauly Shore in there too.
Oh yeah. Really
Goddamn,
good
yeah,
everything.
fuck
Fucking
Marvel.
going.
We're doing pairings after Tarantino.
That's what we used to do.
Well, I mean, up until Tarantino, that's what we've done. It's just I've wanted to do Tarantino for a while, and does it make sense to do a Tarantino movie and then another pairing and break it up?
Because Tarantino month is probably going to be some like really heavy, lengthy
Tarantino
discussions.
months.
Each episode it'll be a breakdown of essentially his style, and I mean the cool thing about it is, and that's up to you guys. We'll talk after and we'll decide if we want to do a full on 3 months of it or separate.
Or we
and
could
figure that
split
out.
it.
Yeah. I mean, either way,
Yeah,
we're gonna do the movies.
Matt and I can talk for hours on Tarantino, so those will be fun discussions.
Well, it's movies like Pool Hall Junkies, which are a clear ripoff of Tarantino's writing style. It's in the dialogue itself, you see the influence. And that's actually also on the
What would you say,
review
rip off or
document.
inspired?
Ripoff.
Rip off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you can say inspired, but when you have the white main character in a movie openly saying the N word within context, you guys would understand it. But you have that level of dialogue, which is clearly a rip. I mean, you gotta remember, Full Hall Junkies was like 2000. That would have been around the same time as the first Kill Bill, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between you could tell when something's inspired or a director's like, oh, I could do this too. Like I
Yeah.
think you
I mean,
kind of get a different vibe.
well, you know, you get
But-
there is
but
dialogue that
but
is
if-
Tarantino-esque, but then there's dialogue that there's a certain cadence to it too. You know, there's like a certain rhythm to Tarantino's writing.
But if something is a rip off, they're pulling shit off of other people's shit. If it's something that's kind of inspired by, it's something that's popular and it.
Yeah, but you're misunderstanding what I mean being ripped off. I'm not meaning ripping off dialogue he's written, but the style.
Okay.
It's not so much that they ripped off a portion of what Tarantino's already done. It's like when they wrote the movie, the writer was trying to write a Tarantino flick.
Okay.
Which I think there's a lot of movies that have that issue. Any movie that you see where characters after Reservoir Dogs, where characters are kind of sitting in a diner. I mean, even Big Lebowski, I think, you know, some of the dialogue in that would be inspired by Tarantino's writing style, that sort of thing. All right, we've all given numbers on this thing. All right. Thank you, everybody, for sticking around for the long episode. We had 5 movies to do. We won't be doing this style again for a while. We will be back, not next week. We're
1 year
taking
from
next
now.
week off. So we'll be back. What day is that? The 13th.
7 days from the 6th, 7. Yeah.
We'll be back the 13th. We're gonna talk and figure out. I think I have Pool Hall Junkies set for that day, if I remember correctly. Because it recently they just put the movie's been lost for years, and then out of the fucking blue, Peacock throws it on their platform. But we'll figure out what we're doing for the next few. We'll definitely be doing Tarantino. I just don't know if we're gonna do nothing but Tarantino. We'll get that figured out. But everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. We will be back in 2 weeks, and for another jolly old good fucking episode. Happy New Year to everyone.
Yeah, have a good day.
Happy
Be
New
safe
Year.
while you're out there. Don't forget to like and subscribe
Don't
to the
drink and
video.
drive.
You heathens, if you are not already following the channel, do so. Much appreciated from a fellow heathen. Good night, everybody.
Good